Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. Today we are digging into all of the space deniers and flat earthers coping about the Artemis 2 mission. That's all we're covering today. We will play bingo. We probably won't get a bingo, but we can try for fun. So you can get your bingo cards ready. We are also on a great hype train. Thank you everyone. Let me go through what I missed while I was getting ready for stream. Sweet Lily Love, thanks for 9 months, says, yay, my first sub-baby. This sub-baby's name is going to be Mork. Just Mork. We'll go with Mork. Bittergrin, thanks for 64 months. Much appreciated. Sweet Lily Love, thanks for 135 stream streak. Nemesaur with 55 months says, to everyone in Wisconsin, remember that today is the spring election, so be sure to vote. Please do, get out there and vote. Phoenix Leftist, thanks for 165 stream streak. Hey little Miss May, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Lady Ann, thanks for 65 months, says, I had a dream last night where I was hunting a little SCP-type creature that could change your biological sex by crying at you. In the dream, my partner talked me out of hunting it, telling me, if it doesn't last and you change back, you won't be able to live with yourself. Anyway, hope you're doing well. I'd take that chance anyway. I'll hunt it, that's fine. Procagam, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Janerdy, thank you for 30 months. Says, fun day, I had a blood test, which I already am not a fan of. Then it turned out it's because my liver readings were a bit off. They did say there wasn't necessarily anything wrong about, but anxiety isn't big on not worrying. I feel you there. I hope some of the anxiety abates. Caesar Bishop, thanks for 7 months. Cosmic Cats, thanks for 52 months. Says, hey Hannah in chat, can't wait for the Artemis conspiracies while I work. There's some fun ones. Should be good. Good luck on your work, by the way. Dodger Mutt, thanks for a 20 stream streak. Let me see, says, I wonder if she'll cover the Matt Gaetz alien breeding claim. Not today. I would like to cover that, though. Ken Sister Sue, thanks for a 50 stream streak, says, yay, my age. Been looking forward to this all day. Well, I'm glad you're here. And I think that catches us up. There was a Black's Law Dictionary request for Artemis. It is not in here, but the closest I could find was... article. Generally, a particular item or thing of clothing. That's the closest I got. Sorry. Minute left on the hype train. If you want to keep that going and support the stream, you can always gift subs, become a subscriber, or use bits. Garatz, thanks for 44 months, says, Earth isn't flat at all. Believe me, I know. Awooga. Anyway, hope y'all are good. I didn't do the whistle very well. I'm sorry. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. I know there's a tip somewhere in here I'm looking for too, but thank you again, Nemesaur. Really appreciate ya. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub. Looking for that tip. Just a Peach says this guy needed notes or something. Lawyer. Let's see. Wait, how long ago was that? What was that for? Anyway, what was this? Got that. Get your bingo cards ready. Like I said, we probably won't get a bingo because it's all one topic today, but you never know. Conspiracy theorists are pretty wild. Thanks, Miss Andre, for 100 bits. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and hit the like button. Helps a lot. Helps new people find the channel, so hit the thumbs up. If you're watching the VOD, hype the video. And if you want to support the show, memberships or super chats. You guys know the deal. No, the tip is about the package. Did you get it? Oh, it's weird. It didn't show that tip. It showed a different one. I had someone go, the person I normally have go to the P.O. box, and it wasn't there. I did get a different package someone sent with Godzilla stuff and some other things, so thank you very much for the person. But there wasn't your package there, just a Peach. At least it wasn't in the locker or anything, so I'm not sure. But it wasn't there yet. Anyway, so we're doing all conspiracies about Artemis 2, NASA's recent flyby of the moon. They are on their return trip right now, but they did pass the dark side of the moon. There were pictures. It was pretty cool. We might see some of that today, but mostly we're just here to look at the delusional people who don't think it's real. Mostly flat earthers, a few space deniers. There's a pretty big overlap there, but you know how it is. Of course, we have CC, we have Jake the Awake, as he's now called, some other conspiracy theorists, all with their different takes and copes. So let's go ahead and jump into it with CC's video, 10 Days on Our Flat Earth. 10 days, of course, being a reference to the number of days the Artemis 2 astronauts will be in space. All right, let's go.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 4/2/26. You know, it's funny. I was watching. Well, I didn't watch it in real time because I was still working.
I want to point out, I did already watch this video because I wanted to see what his reaction was. You can tell he's upset in this video. You're going to notice that he's coping pretty hard. He seems a little nervous. It's pretty fun. It's a little interesting.
I was just getting the highlights on the...
Reminder that Chris recently said he thought that Artemis 2 was never going to launch because they had pushed it back some months ago. I think in February or something, they had to push it to April, which is where it took off on April 1st, when it took off, rather. So I don't think he's doing very good, especially considering this is just a prelude to some years down the line when I think Artemis 4 is going to be doing a moon landing, which is going to be an incredible sight to see, not only because we haven't been to the moon in decades, but also because I would imagine the collective cognitive dissonance of flat earthers globally will be enough to provide infinite energy for all time. So that's pretty good.
The fake launch, you know, if you believe that bullshit. There's an interesting thing that Hollywood likes to use quite a bit, and I think we counted, I don't know, maybe during the launch.
3 is next year and is an Earth orbit checkout of the lander. 4 is 2028 and is the landing. I'm guessing it's going to get pushed back. Most of these missions have been pushed back at least a couple times, so compounding 2, it might end up getting pushed back to 29 or even 30 if things go really bad.
While it was taking off. 12 edits? Maybe 15 edits?
Yeah, this is something that I've noticed a lot of the flat earthers are complaining about vis-a-vis the Artemis 2 launch, was how many cuts there were. I don't know why they're saying this. I've never once heard flat earthers complain about cuts during a launch before. It's not rope. It's not Birdman. They're not trying to do it in one shot, one take. That's never the intent. Of course there are cuts. They're showing different parts of the launch. They're showing inside the vehicle. No one expects a launch like this to have one camera and one static shot. That would be incredibly boring. And if they did do that, you just know that flat earthers would say, well, of course it's fake. They only had one shot. They couldn't even figure out how to fake it with multiple cameras. No matter what the context is, they're always going to complain about it because they already have predetermined that they think the Earth is flat and there is nothing that's going to convince them otherwise. So they have to warp everything around them in order to justify that belief. Miss Quilanius, with a 57 months, says, Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. If she's the hunter, that means we're the prey. How can you trust anyone associated with turning into various animals to R-word women? Zeus belongs in the Epstein files. Artemis uses a bow and arrow, bow as in bow before NASA, and arrow as in look over there. They're clearly hiding something. And what is that something? It's God. Only God could shine light on these deceivers. NASA, freeing us from the hunter's trap. I've accidentally taught you all how to make up conspiracy diatribes, and I'm very concerned about that. Hydrate, will do.
Oh, you don't know what an edit is? Oh, let me give you an example of what an edit is. Can I? May I? Here, look. Edit. Edit.
That's a cut.
Edit.
That's a cut. Editing isn't just cuts.
Edit.
Again, it's called a cut.
Edit.
Terradona says the goalpost is somewhere between Earth and the sun. What type of cheese do I think the moon is made of? Oh, shit. What did they say it was on Wallace and Gromit? Oh, what did they say? It's a very British cheese.
Edit.
I gotta turn in my Wallace and Gromit card, I'm sorry. Wensleydale! Wensleydale.
You see, during that editing process, so many things could happen. So much time could pass, and you don't know how much time exactly.
Chris, no time passed. There were people there watching it live. There were people there watching it live, like, the whole time. There were people with their own cameras filming it live. There was literally a plane, or at least a couple planes, that were passing by and were able to capture the launch from the air, which was really cool if you didn't see that footage. That's all over YouTube and Instagram and probably TikTok. I don't really use TikTok, though. So what do you mean it could have been edited or that any amount of time could have happened? There were live people there.
Exactly has passed. However, in this case, it was a launch, right? Let's get into detail exactly what nonsense. First off, this launched off exactly. It's a fucking balloon. First off, there was a shot of one of the astronaut. Well, whatever that. He's not an astronaut, but one of the military guys.
He doesn't like calling them astronauts because, as far as he's concerned, astronauts aren't real because there's no space. But he is talking about one of the astronauts here.
Picture about an hour or two, maybe 3 hours before Artemis with his cell phone.
But Hannah, what if NASA was using their satanic powers to edit reality? At that point, you might as well just say, I'm being tricked by a demon, and my entire life is a fantasy. That's so bordering on solipsistic, why even bother with thought anymore? That's my opinion on when things get that, like, I won't believe reality. At this point, you might as well just say you're a brain in a jar. Like, why do you care about anything if you're not going to believe absolutely anything? Peep Lord says, did we bring up Chris's Ozempic script? He looks zempy. Let's not comment on people's looks.
And it was on the ground, and it pointed up.
I fucked up with that recently. But we shouldn't comment on people's looks. Don't do that. Especially... Let's just say I'm not immune to being made fun of for my looks. So I think it's a good thing on this channel to not do so, because it would be hypocritical.
The rocket to show the size of the rocket or whatever. I'm not saying it's not big. It's fucking huge. You know, I mean, really, it's a freaking helium balloon, basically. But you can see how fake it looked. I mean, this is not a.
You could see how fake it looked. Vibes-based conspiracy on the bingo card, as well as recording in car and flat Earth. M. Scheffler, thanks for 49 months. Sup? Not much. What's up with you?
Steel. This is not metal. It's nothing. It's nothing but a helium balloon. They're not in that.
It's not a helium balloon. It is a rocket ship. Those are very different things. And as I said, there are tons of videos, both professionally shot and privately shot by random people with their phones, of the launch. We see it. You can see it. You can see people seeing it. Like, I don't understand how at this point you could possibly be skeptical.
Thing right now. They're not even in space yet right now.
It didn't look like a helium balloon. Yeah, my favorite part of helium balloons is how they have giant, like, thrust underneath them caused by rockets. Isn't that the best part of helium balloons, is the immense thrust?
This is the afternoon. Tonight, after they investigate, you see, they're in...
He's talking about this picture? Okay. Did he just think this picture was deceptive because he doesn't think the rocket is as big as it is? It is. It's very big. They need a lot of fuel.
Low orbit. So everybody's selling.
Oh, I mentioned cheese. I did. Someone asked me about it, but I don't know. I'll count it today specifically because there's not going to be as many spaces, so I'll count Hannah mentions cheese. Hannah mentions Blu-rays. Where's Hannah mentions cheese? There it is.
Celebrating. I'm like, what are you celebrating? Did you celebrate the ISS? I don't think you did you? Because they're not any higher than that. Right now they're in low Earth
Of course, they've gone further than low Earth orbit since then. They reached the furthest that human beings have ever been from Earth, because this particular moon trip, it's on a further part of its elliptical orbit around the Earth, so we went further away despite having gone to the moon before. As far as the International Space Station, I was 4 years old when the International Space Station launched, but if I was my age now, in the 90s, yeah, I would have been excited about it. It's cool.
Low Earth orbit. Okay, that's where they are right now. And
moves goalposts, I'm gonna say, because previously he was saying that they weren't gonna do the mission at all, and now he's like, well, they're only in low Earth orbit, and of course now they've gone well beyond low Earth orbit. So he's continually changing the goalposts. Where is changes the goalposts on here? It's been a bit since we had that space. I think it's on the bottom half somewhere. Moves goalpost, moves goalpost, moves goalpost. 56? Okay, thank you. It's actually about in the middle.
Find it really amazing that people believe this nonsense, because let's take a look at the capsule that they're in. Now, this is, how many people? I think there's like four military guys that are going.
Astronauts. You can call them astronauts, Chris.
And one woman. That's right. I forgot about that. There is a lady.
Yes, we have filming in car.
On board. Oh, man. That should be great. They're going to be cooped up in this.
I don't understand any of what he's laughing at about a woman being an astronaut. There have been plenty of women astronauts. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, that's not how women work. Not exactly sure, but I'm just going to put that. Literally, like, Russia was using women as cosmonauts before America was using women as astronauts. Like, are you serious? Haha, women. Women aren't allowed to do things and stuff.
So, that's about the size of a minivan. Okay? Maybe.
He says it's the size of a minivan, and so does, I believe, Mark Sargent and Flat Earth Dave, because we might be watching some of their live reaction today. They also claim it's about the size of a minivan, but I think it's actually larger than that. I saw some tour videos, because they have a model of the craft set up somewhere in a NASA facility where they were training the astronauts. And they brought news there to kind of show off the modules and how big it is. So it's actually quite big for a rocket ship internally. I believe one of the things that's interesting about this one is they have a fuller toilet space than many of the earlier rockets and stuff. But anyway, for a rocket, it's actually pretty spacious. It's not a huge space, but it's better than previous missions, quite frankly. So I don't know what to tell you about that.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County.
It's about the size of a Greyhound bus. Based on what I saw, that sounds more correct to me than a minivan. I would say probably about a Greyhound bus, which again, is pretty tight, but they're trained astronauts. They trained for this to be in tight spaces with each other for 10 days. It's not going to be great, but that's why they screen people psychologically before they become astronauts, to make sure they're the kind of person who can handle being in close quarters with other people like that for an extended period of time.
3/3/26. It's a Friday. I like to put a Think About It Friday video out, just in case if I'm able to put a video out for the weekend. Although, I think I might this weekend, but we're not sure. I can't promise anything. Laughable is probably the best way to describe it. Predictable and absurdity. These are the three topics we're going to be discussing today on a Think About It Friday.
Oh, sorry, I picked the wrong video. I started playing the next video. I'm so stupid. Here's the correct one.
Add a couple of more feet to it, but it's basically like a big box fan, okay? And that's what they're in. They've got a
I don't know why box fans specifically and not just a box.
Shitter, a shoebox for it's about the size of their shitter.
Yeah, the bathroom on the Artemis is kind of similar to the size of, have you ever been in a camper? Like an RV or a camper that has a really cramped bathroom, and it's like one of those bathrooms that has a toilet and a shower head. That's kind of the size of the Artemis bathroom. They're working with little space, Chris. The fact that they have a bathroom like that at all is pretty impressive, to be honest, because they're going into space.
It's going to be great. It's just going to be beautiful. I could just imagine the aroma for 10 days. You know, when I had my injury, I couldn't take a shower for like 3 days because I didn't...
Chris, why do you think they don't wash themselves? They don't have a shower or a bath, but they can still clean themselves. They can still, like, wash themselves with, like, rags and soap and stuff. I'm sure they're not going to get as clean as they would on Earth with a shower, but that's kind of one of the reasons you train to be an astronaut, is because it's not the most comfortable thing. You do the best you can. You have a set schedule. You have to work out every day to try and not decrease your bone density and stuff.
Realize that you could put a 13-gallon bag over the leg area and tighten it and seal it too. Then I found out they had shit on the internet, but it didn't matter. But I mean, it just like after 3 or 4 days, I was like, I can't do it. I just got to take a shower. I just got to take a fucking shower. So they're going to be 10 days like this, okay? One woman and one female. And I think
females,
4 guys, okay, something like that. You know, I can't even drive to work in the morning without one guy going ballistic behind me, shining his lights and flashes because he wants to get out of his way. He's in a big fucking rush. 10 days. So if you believe this, if you believe that they're in this capsule right now, if you believe they are going to be launched out into space and they're going to spend 10 days out there in this little minivan with a shoebox for a toilet, no fucking shower or anything, a couple of sinks maybe,
as we all know, no one in the history of mankind has not showered for 10 days. It's pretty gross, but again, they're doing sponge baths. It is what it is. Part of the job.
You know, maybe us flat earthers should get together and put together something. Actually, we don't even need to.
Oh yeah, he thinks it's fake. He's a flat earther.
You know what? One person could do this on AI. Oh, hold on. Let me edit. There was another edit. I had to
Again, it's a cut. It's a cut.
Reposition the camera. Edit. Oh, fuck. Fucking A, man. It just makes life so much better here.
Comment girl, thanks for following.
To see these trained rats, these NPCs that really just, like, fall for it. Although
Again, everyone who disagrees with me is a soulless, empty husk without an internal life. What a dire worldview. Someone disagrees with your worldview, so you assume they're not a person. That's psychotic.
You know, let me be honest with you. I really haven't seen anybody mention anything about it. I mean, I've seen it on the I think the New York Post today had a front page with going back to the future. We're not landing anybody on the moon. Apparently, if you believe this shit, you're going around the moon. Are they actually going to the dark side? I don't even know, because there's so much little information we can find out about.
They will, Cal.
They're just going to keep winging it. That's all. Now, if they really wanted to back out,
Gothgeek Gaming says, I wonder if people that say female the way people like Chris do also follow the rules of acquisition.
They're just going to keep winging it. That's all. Now, if they really wanted to back out, tonight would be the night.
This is him bargaining, by the way. He's apparently on the bargaining stage during this video, because he's like, they're going to back out. They're going to back out tonight. They didn't. They went around the dark side of the moon. They're on their way back. They're fine. Didn't cancel anything.
They would say there is an electrical problem. There's something going on here. One of the wires is fucked up. One of the fans went out. And they would just abort the mission and come back to Earth. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to go through with this fake shit. They're just going to run with it. And it's going to be so bad. So, let's see. We are not obviously going to get what we want. There's no camera on the capsule to show us going into space. There's no capsule on the bottom of the capsule. I mean, you know, there's no camera on the bottom of the capsule that's going to show us breaking through the atmosphere and watching Earth just get smaller and smaller and smaller. No, they don't have that. I believe they do have mirrors, though. I think the AI thing that I have.
How are you going to put a camera on the outside when it needs to be aerodynamic?
Said there's 6, not mirrors, windows.
I just think it would be difficult to do.
It said that there's
I'm not
6
saying
windows.
that it's impossible. I've seen shots from spaceships where you see the bottom and then, you know, the parts detach, the sections come off when they're already in space.
In there, which I guess would be about the size of maybe something like this, you know, about that round or something like that, you know. Those are fried onions, by the way. I just had a little lunch. So there's really no way of getting a good picture on it. And where is this fucking thing going to be pointed? It should be pointed at the moon the entire time, so you can't get any rear shots. But they say there are HD cameras all over the capsules. Well, we're not going to see dick. Nothing. We're going to see shit. We're going to see the worst photographic imaging that they could possibly imagine.
We've gotten multiple images of Earth and the moon that look really cool from the Artemis 2 mission. So again, this is him coping.
They're going to give you a picture of Earth that is unrecognizable with continents that are all fucked up if they even show those. Typically, they just put clouds all over the Earth and make it, there it is. It's right there. That's Earth. That white thing right there.
I'm going to go with doesn't understand how cameras work for claiming the continents are all messed up. I think that's typically when flat earthers say that about photos of the Earth from space, it's because they don't understand focal length and how it affects the image that you're shooting. So I'm going to go with doesn't understand how cameras work on the bingo card. Because depending on the lens, it can change sort of the apparent appearance of size of certain continents and stuff, depending on the length of the lens.
There, that's right. Then you can see that little dark thing. Yeah, that's Africa or some continent we don't know. You know, no stars, of course. Nah, why would we want to do that? That would be stupid. So when they go around the moon, okay, are they gonna get Earth right there? I don't know. That's gonna be the iPhone shot, I think, right there, huh? No, it's not. It's gonna be the most unrecognizable picture you'll ever fucking see. And that I can guarantee you, okay? You'll never see anybody land anywhere. They can pull this shit off, sure, because everybody they got their head in the sand. I bet half the population didn't even know this thing took off last night, you know? I mean, where was it?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, Chris. Most powerful person on the planet's being insane and threatening genocide on fake Twitter. So, kind of got other things on their minds. I'm not really surprised that there's not as much fanfare for this particular mission.
Where was it announced? Nowhere. You know, I mean, they did a blurb on it here and there.
The one picture they took of Earth did show stars. They were rather faint. Yes, I have alternatively seen other flat earthers claim that it is sus because you can see the stars in that photo. So they are all over the place. They are all over the place on this.
Just went over people's heads. They're more concerned about the war, the fakeness, and all this other bullshit, gas prices. You know, here we're at about $3.89. But people don't seem to understand we were there for almost 4 years. That's right. We had the Biden. Remember Biden? People forget. They forget these fucking things. They forget, they just completely forget history. You know what I mean? They're complaining about 2 or 3 weeks of high gas prices. You had high gas prices for 4 fucking years that were close to $5 an hour, $5 a gallon here in New York. Okay? and this idiot mayor.
Oh yeah, Biden on the bingo card. He found a way to bring up Biden somehow. That's almost impressive. Jason Proxy says, such a beautiful pic with stars. NASA releases stunning first photos of Earth from Artemis 2 moon mission. Yeah, very cool. I'm sure many of us have seen this photo over the last however many days since they took it. Cool photo. Oops.
Down the city. He wants to pay these McDonald's workers $30 an hour. $30 an hour. Do you realize nurses and...
I don't think that's that crazy for New York City. Have you seen the cost of living in New York City?
practitioners, they get paid about $20 an hour.
Right, so they should get paid more too. If you pay service workers like McDonald's workers that are jobs that require less formal education, then it puts pressure on professions like nursing that require more formal education to offer their employees more. It's a rising tides raise all boats situation. If people at the bottom of the economic hierarchy get paid more, it forces other people, quote-unquote, above them in the economic hierarchy to want more money comparatively, because otherwise why don't they just go work at McDonald's?
Do you know that? But at McDonald's, a coworker can get paid $30 an hour.
Oh yeah, doesn't understand their problem is capitalism on the bingo card. Chris is a crab in a bucket who would like to pull everyone else down instead of raising people up to his and their own benefit. What was I doing? Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism? Okay.
Now, we'll see how that works. I mean, what an idiot, this guy. It just everything is just, it's happening so quickly, you know? I mean, it's just like we go through a period of 6 months of bullshit, and then bam, one after another. Remember when we were having those terrorist things? It's like bam.
Nemesaur says the reason you can see the stars is that the picture was taken on the night side of Earth, so the picture we're seeing has the brightness cranked all the way up. That makes a ton of sense.
One weekend. That's what they do. You know, this is, they don't know what else to do. All of this is made up shit. Okay? It's all there to keep you off the prize. The prize is flat Earth. Okay? And if you want to learn anything.
And what a glorious prize it is! Look at Chris, who's won the gift of believing flat Earth, filming in his van, fuming about NASA, doing NASA things. Beautiful. Clearly this prize is priceless.
Anything at all. I'm talking about your history. Okay? I'm talking about you thinking that in the 1840s and the 1700s, we were sitting in little huts, okay, with an axe, and
very much depends where in the world you are in the 18 or 1700s. Again, not everyone in the world at any given period has the same standard of living. Like right now, I'm living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. To me, that's normal. That's normative. Right? To someone from another country, like a developing nation, this might be considered like a huge place to live that they can't even imagine. Then even further, you have like uncontacted tribes like the Sentinelese, you know what I mean? Who are still living in tribes. People have different living arrangements, different kinds of housing, depending on where they live and what the material conditions are of that particular area.
You know, with nothing, with no light, with nothing. But yet we built these palaces, these beautiful palaces, dug freaking reservoirs for hundreds of miles with this, with no technology at all, no electrical instruments, nothing. So if you want to learn about that history, okay, and you want to revisit the history, the lies that you were told in school, and find out what we really had back in the day, okay, if you want to learn about the World's Fair, that's right, going all the way back to the 1800s, you know, if you want to learn about that, if you want to learn about your life.
I'm wondering if Tartaria is a very American-centric conspiracy theory, because most Americans' sense of history is very recent. Like, it's said as a sort of axiom that to someone from the UK, 100 miles is a long distance. In America, 100 years is a long time. The idea being that Americans' view of history is incredibly myopic and pretty much only extends to American history, and everything before that doesn't exist. So I do wonder if that's the reason for the prevalence of the Tartarian conspiracy theory in America specifically, because so much of history is just a black hole to certain people that they feel the need to fill it with nonsense that makes it simpler for them to understand.
Okay. If you want to learn about a digital world.
Stone Corbell says, as I recall, the Tartaria thing was started by weirdo Russian supremacist conspiracy theorists, but it has definitely picked up more in the US.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You're right. It was originally Russian. I didn't take that into account.
Digital world, that's right. Yeah. That all this could be digital. That what we're living in right here is something that's possibly real in a sense that you're looking at it and acknowledging it that it's real, but maybe not.
Chris has become stuck in the simulation hypothesis idea, which is very close to solipsism. Not great. Beatrice with 100 bits says, don't you mean makes it easier for them to overstand? Sure.
It might be hard to understand. See, free will is a big thing too. See, the tests that they did, there's an 8-second gap right there. You know, the computer knows what you're going to do like 8 seconds before it actually happens. See, they proved that. That means there's no free will, and scientists don't like that experiment. No, they don't. They don't. That means your
What do you mean scientists don't like that experiment?
life is a book. Let's give you an example. Like your
He's
life.
talking about a specific study, and it wasn't 8 seconds before. It was like milliseconds. I don't remember most of the specifics of this study, but it was the idea that somewhere in your brain, before you're consciously aware that you made a decision, you make the decision first, and then you sort of post hoc rationalize that decision. He apparently thinks this means there's no free will? I don't know about that. That's a whole philosophical discussion about what you even mean by the definition of free will, so I'm not getting into that.
Look where you are right now. How did you get there? What paths brought you to where you are right now? And if one of those paths was crushed, where would have you gone? It's a book. It's not coincidence. Everything's been written for you. All the way up to the day you die. It's all been written for you. Everything you're doing now is going to affect you in the future. If you want to learn about all this stuff, then just download the app. I'm going to put you a link right there. Clock, Zodiac, app.
Argentical, thank you for rating. Check out Argentical here on Twitch.
It's there. All of it's there. It's going to cost you pennies to get into it. All right, nothing. Remember, give a thumbs up for me. All right, CC911 would be nice. All right, it gives me a little bit of well, whatever. Who cares? Doesn't matter. You know, if you don't want to download the app and you don't want to learn anything, all right. If you just want to sit there and believe these fake rocket launches and this fakeness that you can actually propel in space in zero gravity and make turns. Okay. I see. You're saying the gravity of a planet. That's right. Turns it. All right. I'll acknowledge that. But
they do use planetary dynamics to like swing around things. I would agree, but you could also turn a ship in space just using thrust. They do that. They make adjustments. That's absolutely a thing.
But how do you get to that planet without direction? Oh, the thrusters on the thing. Oh, really? You say thrusters? That's funny because space is zero gravity and it's a vacuum. Mm-hmm. You can't have fire in a vacuum.
You can if you bring your own oxygen, which they do. They have liquid oxygen as part of the fuel mix so that they can combust in space.
Go ahead, try.
This has been explained to Chris, by the way. His comments are full of people who explain this stuff to him all the time, and I don't know if he just doesn't read the comments or chooses not to listen to them, but this has been explained to him multiple times.
Put everything into a box, take all the air out, all right? Try to light a fire. If there's no air, you can't have a fire.
They bring the air, the oxygen at least.
It's as simple as that. There's no air in space. Is there air in space? No. That means you don't get a fire. That means you can't have rockets. They don't work. You can't turn without having some sort of water or something to push off of. If you don't have that, you can't do anything.
Second law of motion.
You're just going to sit there and go...
Wait, second law? Equal and opposite reactions. I think that's second law.
Around in a circle. If space actually existed, which it doesn't.
Third, fuck. Is second, the force is wait, what is it? Force is mass times acceleration? Is that the second one? Fuck.
None of this exists. Stars...
Sekhmet with 100 bits says, Cece's comment about free will is weirdly reminiscent of a component of bias. You already have an internal bias based on your environment. The free will is using every ounce of info to make a better choice. Sorry for the late comment. You're good.
Planets. It's all fake bullshit. It's all there to reiterate. Oh, Christ, I can't even say the word. It's all there to just keep the lie going, okay? Reiterate. Fake planets, fake Earth, fake everything. You know? It's just remarkable, but, you know, enjoy your little fake show. I think there's probably going to be a 70-30 chance that it might get scrubbed. I'm going to go with a 30% chance that it just might be scrubbed. I'm going to give it a high 70% that they might go through with this right now because it looks like they're gonna. And what is this shit that they were inspecting the capsule when they were on the tarmac or whatever the fuck the thing is on? I mean, what are they doing? Isn't this open checked out and everything like that? What do you think you're going to see? A fly? No, but you might see the fly.
I'm not an engineer, a rocket engineer, so I don't know what they were checking, but considering that people have died in space launches before, pretty good idea to check and double check and triple check as much as you can everything to make sure it's safe.
In space.
Relatively speaking. It's incredibly dangerous, but as safe as you can make something that's kind of inherently fraught with danger.
That's always nice. Don't worry about it. There's gonna be many flies on that capsule, right? It's gonna stink. Oh man, 10 fucking days of bullshit. So anyway, if they actually really do go through with this, we all know that they're not in there. We don't know actually where they put them. We have no idea. They could be anywhere. Then a barricade underneath the ground, for crying out loud. Who knows where they are?
Space.
But they're certainly not in space because space doesn't exist. It never has. It never will. I don't think our ancestors ever acknowledged space. They acknowledged lights in the sky, but they didn't say anything like planets that we could actually build a spacecraft.
Let's go ancient wisdom on the bingo card for that. Apparently he assumes that for some reason what ancient people thought about something they had very little information on matters. Don't get that.
And go out there? No, they didn't do that. 1600s, 1500s, 1400s, 640. You know, I mean, really. It's just this whole civilization, the higher up have brought it up, and it's such a perfect plan because it makes you feel insignificant. That's what it does. Okay, you feel...
Lady Anne says Pliny the Elder wrote about space in the 1st century.
Feel like you're nothing. You're just a little speck. That there's no God. There's nothing. There's no dome. It's just we're opened and we're anything could happen. A meteor could kill us. You know, a little simple meteor could kill all of us. Have you ever seen a meteor actually crash to the ground?
Yes, I've seen multiple videos of that.
I haven't. How many cell
Have you ever YouTubed it or Googled it? Because there's videos of it on the internet.
phones are there out there?
Literally, I think in the last year, didn't a person get struck by an asteroid? Like something fucking hit them? That was like in the last year.
I would say at least 1 billion. 6 billion is as many people that they lie and say that there are as many phones, okay? And nobody's ever caught in one actually crash land.
Again, no, there are videos of this on YouTube. You can look it up.
On the ground.
Happens.
The moon. Every single crater is straight on. Everyone. No craters like the movies depict. Making a nice trail like that that's 5 feet deep, and there's the hole and there's the trail. Yeah, that's what Hollywood does. But the moon, I don't know, doesn't have any of that on there. All clean craters. It's great, isn't it? I love it. The only moon, the only satellite up there, that's stationary, that doesn't revolve, that doesn't turn. It's locked into the gravity. The only one in the entire solar system. And as a matter of fact,
That's not true. What planet has a tidally locked moon in the solar system? I know there's another one. We are not the only ones in the solar system, and certainly not the only ones in the galaxy, much less the fucking universe. It's a thing. It's called being tidally locked.
I think the only one
Is
in
it Jupiter? Yeah.
the fucking universe. And I know they're looking. What are they looking at? Lights on the dome? I don't know. What the fuck are these pictures from? They're drawings. That's all they are. Fucking
Most moons are tidally locked. Is that true? That's interesting.
drawings. Really nice drawings, too, I'll tell you. Terrific artists. Really make it look real. They can turn a ball into a realistic looking picture of Earth. It's amazing. The only problem is they mix the colors. You know, the colors are a little fucked up on some of them. Right? Some are
This is Anne Elizabeth Fowler Hodges erasure. Let's take a look. Anne Elizabeth Fowler Hodges, also known as Mrs. Hodges, Mrs. Hewlett Hodges, and Mrs. Hewlett Hodges, spelled differently, was an American woman known for being the first documented individual to be struck by a meteorite and survive. This one was in 1954. The funny thing is, there's no way this is the first time something like this has happened in 1954. So, like, statistically, although there were fewer people on the planet, so it would probably happen less often, sometimes in history, someone just got hit by a fucking meteor, and no one around them had any scientific knowledge to understand what just happened. They basically were smited by God as far as they're concerned. Wonder how many times that's happened in human history before we knew what, like, asteroids and meteors are, where someone just got smoked by a space rock. And everyone was like, what the fuck?
brown, some are red. You know, Africa's brown in 2015 and in 2009. It's a different color. Well, actually, no, they started
Seasons, Chris. Seasons. The ground looks different from space, depending on the season.
doing the pictures in 2015, and they keep giving us terrific drawings, you know. But back in the first picture that we had, the marble, everything looks a little different, doesn't it? The colors of the continents are all different. They're actually different sizes too. So I guess what happens is, like, maybe every 30 or 40 years, the continents, they kind of expand and then they contract, kind of like the Earth is breathing.
Trey says, on the topic for Tinfoil Tuesday, but one of the main reasons why we know so much about the Bavarian Illuminati is because there was a guy who was like a record keeper for them in Germany, and while he was on his way to a train station with all his notes, he got struck by lightning and cops recovered all of his documents. Fucking the RNGs in this reality are goddamn ridiculous. Ultra Undying says, the big thing is she lived. It bounced, and when it hit her head, it hurt her a lot, but she lived. Very glad she lived.
Right? That makes sense. So they get twice the size of it, take up the whole side of the Earth, and then they contract back into its original. It's like, remember, The shrinkums? What were those things?
Shrinky dinks?
Oh, they were called shrinks something. There were these little models, and they
Shrinky dinks.
they would grow, and then they would contract back in there.
Maybe not.
But these are actually things that you put in the oven, not that absorbs the water. You know, like the frogs.
Oh, okay. So yes, shrinky dinks.
And stuff that absorb the water, and they expand to like 10 times their size. These were actually things that you put in the oven. Shrinkets? I forget what the name of them is. And they were like this small, and you put them in the oven, and they grow. But yeah, I mean, maybe
they shrink. They don't grow. They shrink. They're shrinky dinks. They shrink. It's in the name.
That's what the continents must do. So where are we now? Are we in the shrinkage area, or are we in an expanded or expansion area? That's what I would love to know. I guess we'll have to wait for that picture, right? Oh, you know they're going to give it to us. We want that really nice, crisp picture. And that's right. We have the technology now, you know? And could you get a couple of stars in the background? I mean, just make it look kind of like space. You know, that it's not a fucking drawing in a black drop. You know, just put it.
So is he happy now that we have a photo of Earth with stars behind it? I'm gonna guess he's not happy about it, even though he literally is asking for it right here. Orion Cooper with a $2 super chat says, I sent you Meteor Death's page on Discord. Thank you.
A few stars. It's not going to hurt anyone. Don't worry. We're just going to measure where the constellation should be in that particular time, at that particular second, and where the star should be if you were right here behind the moon. We're not going to check that. Don't worry about it. Just give us some stars. That's all we ask. They're not going to give you shit. They can't do anything. You'll never see stars. You'll never see anybody land anywhere. You'll see...
Sekhmet says, X gonna give it to us.
Little machines land everywhere. Hell, I could make a machine land right over here and put a backdrop in it and make it look like Mars and turn everything red. Oh, and they don't even really have to do that anymore. They just said they have AI. They can do whatever the fuck they want. But they're gonna show the typical videos of them in the capsule. Now remember, they are in there for 10 days. 10 days. I couldn't even go 3 days without taking a shower. It's disgusting.
Again, they are washing themselves. They just don't have access to a shower.
I can't even grow a fucking beard. It's disgusting. I just can't. Food gets caught in there. Oh man, it's good.
I will agree, having a beard is gross.
So
not for other people. I don't like having a beard.
In
fact, I used to have a beard, and then I went a very different direction with it.
Person actually, when it lands and comes back,
that cope beard was bad.
Back to Earth. Who's the person who actually opens the capsule up? He better have a gas mask on. Does he cover his mouth at least? It must stink like a freaking game zoo in there. Oh man. Jesus Lord. Gas mask, please. We're opening the hatch. Okay, please stand by. Well, have fun.
Guys, we were gonna go to the moon, but then we realized we might have body odor, so we scrubbed the whole mission.
This is so much fun. It really is. Okay, I gotta get...
Why is he so fixated on this? Because being a flat earther and a conspiracy theorist is his entire identity. This is him coping. This is him convincing himself he's not crazy, and in fact, everyone else is crazy.
I gotta give it to NASA. Excellent job. Terrific launch with the edits and everything. You actually made it go good. And don't forget about the cartoon. Did you see the cartoon? I love the cartoon. Right when it pretends it goes somewhere, and there it is. You have the little...
Bumble Homestead says, I was a beard in middle and part of high school.
Drawing and a little cartoon of, oh, it's great. I love it. NASA.
My mom was a beard in her first marriage.
Good job.
Fun fact.
I am so proud of you. You have given us exactly what we expected, and we do appreciate us. And I'm speaking for the flat earthers. We do appreciate everything that you do because you're so predictable and so much fun to have. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos and let me be a part of your life.
So that's Chris's take. We do have another more recent video from him, but we spent so much time on him, we will put him at the back of the line, and we will continue with some other Flat Earthers takes. And if we have time, maybe we'll swing back around to him, but probably won't have time for it today. So let's get the next take, shall we? Let's do this one. This is courtesy of They Live Truth. Orion Cooper with a $2 super chat says, scrub the mission because we can't scrub ourselves.
The latest fake space mission by NASA, Artemis 2, the so-called moon mission launch. Not an actual moon landing mission. Just basically a flyby. What a complete joke this is.
It's so funny to me that I can see where this is, like, they're moving the goalposts to try and say, well, they're not even landing on the, they're not landing on the moon, they're just going around it. When they do land on the moon in the next 5 years or so, the cope is going to be incredible. It's going to be wonderful.
Considering NASA supposedly put men on the moon back in 1969 all the way to 1972 and never has done it since, and again including this mission as well. Nonetheless, let's get right into it with this phony
Overthought, thanks for gifting my wife a sub.
fake garbage that NASA is peddling. And obviously you see the date here, April 1st, of course, April Fool's Day, fooling the public when it comes.
Again, it wasn't originally scheduled for April. It was scheduled for sometime in February 2026. Then that date got scrubbed for some reason. I don't remember the specific reason, and got pushed to a flight window between April 1st and April 5th. They decided to go off April 1st. It's not an intricate plan to play a joke on you. It has nothing to do with April Fool's Day. They just had a good launch window during that time. Not everything is about you and your wackadoo conspiracies. In fact, almost nothing is, except this show.
Comes down to, and always coded Artemis 2, as you see here, in numerology, is 33. And one thing I find interesting too.
Gematria on the bingo card for that. Gematria. Do we still have Gematria? We do. Beautiful.
Regarding this,
they had to roll it back to the VAB because of a leak in the helium pressurization system. Gotcha.
April Fool's Day so-called moon mission launch. The first time the so-called globe Earth has ever been televised with the so-called picture from space was on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 1960. Again, they've been doing this forever.
So your evidence is that a photo of Earth was also released on that particular day decades ago. Why wouldn't every space thing happen on April 1st then? You found 2 examples of things happening on April 1st that have to do with space in, what, how many decades of space exploration? That's not very impressive. It kind of just feels like you grabbed 2 random things that happened to be on April 1st.
Fooling the public, playing with the public like they're children.
Doesn't know what a coincidence is on the bingo card? Yes. Let's go with that. Doesn't know what a coincidence is. After this video, we can go over the bingo card, by the way.
And always with the occultic side with Artemis itself. The name is based on the Greek goddess, as you see her, Artemis, and her association with the moon itself.
Scientists are dorks. They like to name things after mythology. They like Latin. They like Greek. They're big dorks.
And her twin brother, as you see here, Apollo. And the obvious connection with the Apollo missions. These 2 were the offspring of Zeus and Leto. And of course, the duality aspect.
Like, does he not understand that it's kind of a space theme? Like, the planets are often named after, like, Greek or Roman gods and stuff. It's kind of a tradition.
Of the sun and the moon when it comes to these 2 individuals and these so-called space missions by NASA. And before showing the footage from the so-called Artemis 2 mission, I definitely want to break down the occultic side. As you see here, Buzz Aldrin doing the all-seeing eye symbol, the 666 hand sign.
What are you counting up to, Harold Elbleman? I'm very concerned.
See all the bracelets on his hand. Take a look here. Buzz Aldrin.
No, I don't think that's AI. I've seen that photo before.
The bracelets on his hand. Take a look here. Buzz Aldrin, and with very famous 33rd degree Freemason Luther Smith, a Grand Sovereign Commander, as I showed many times, as you see here in the dual 33s. And more of the same with these astronauts. Just take a listen here during this interview with Bart Sibrel with Astronauts Gone Wild. Very important to point out the number 33, as always. Take a listen to what is said here. When Bart Sibrel asked the question, what powered the lunar module?
What powered the air batteries? You had a number of big batteries in the lunar module. They powered pumps, they powered the air conditioning, they powered the communication system, and that's the reason we were only able to stay on the moon 33 hours.
So the number 33, people that deny the undeniable once again when it comes to number 33, and these occultists, as you see here.
Guys, did you know sometimes things happen in quantity or time measuring 33, and that's evil for some reason? Yes, Freemasons on the bingo for this. For those that don't know, 33 conspiracy theorists think is a special number signifying the Freemasons, because the highest degree you can become in Freemasonry is 33. So they think it's indicative of an in-group joke, more or less.
From the Washington Post, talking about Shepard and Mr. Mitchell spending 33 hours on the moon, that record number supposedly that was spent on the moon during their so-called lunar missions. And also,
do you think they ever think about how many times there's quantities or measurements that are numbers that aren't 33? Because they only point out the ones that are. They're completely avoiding all the ones that aren't. A little weird, isn't it?
9 hours on the outside of the lunar module. This is very relevant. The number 33, this is all regarding the 1/3 or 33%
Harold Elbleman is scaring me with his counting.
of the fallen angels. And the
Is 7 gonna eat 9?
number 9, this is Satan's number, mentioned by Anton LaVey in his writings, as I covered previously. I'll get more of this, so people will see this is not a coincidence with the 33 and the number 9. I'll be showing this in a little bit later during this presentation. And here you see another article when Edgar Mitchell, they say, passed away. And again, mentioning 33 men spending a record 33 hours on the moon's surface. And of course, astronauts.
Technically only 2 of them were on the moon's surface.
Not being 33 numerology. And astro, of course, meaning star. And this is Chaldean
Aldrin and Armstrong got to double team the moon, where the third guy got cucked in the capsule.
numerology. The Chaldeans were the first astronomers.
I always forget his name. He's just Capsule Boy.
And they knew exactly what the stars were. They're not distant suns. They knew they were divine beings.
Mike Collins? I'm not going to remember that. He's a Capsule Boy.
They were the fallen ones that they worshiped. And this is the truth they're trying to hide from the general public when it comes down to...
Did he ever get to go back in, like, subsequent missions and actually go to the moon? I hope so. Because that genuinely would suck if you got to go very close to the moon, but you never got to land on it.
it. And obviously, runway number 33 at the Kennedy Space Center. Kennedy being 33 numerology as well. And besides the obvious 33 painted on the runway...
He never went back? That sucks.
You see the 3 dashes for your 33, your dual 33 in plain sight. And also, this being...
Just like for him, the moon will always be the celestial body that got away.
The only runway at the Kennedy Space Center, the other end is the number 15. So you have your 33 and 15. I mentioned this before in my previous video, and in past videos going years back. The number 15 is the sign of the cross with the Germanic runic wheel. So again, these are occultists
Germanic
behind
wheel.
all this. Everything is by design, just like you see here with the so-called Artemis 2 moon mission.
I want to point out I've never seen him reference that Germanic letter wheel before. It's like he went out of his way to say 15, 15. What can I associate with 15 that seems conspiratorial? And then he went looking.
Take a look here as you see him point towards space. Take a look what he's wearing here.
Looks like he's pointing towards his head
The
or helmet.
color orange. Of course, orange being 33 numerology. And also hidden 33 in plain sight.
It's a flight suit. It's so they can find them if they crash in water.
With this patch
Because it clashes with the blue of the ocean.
being gold and blue, as I mentioned in previous videos. Gold and blue being 33 numerology in Chaldean and Pythagorean. We can't forget about one
Not in Pythagorean!
thing here. The NASA logo itself. And this is a forked tongue. This is the tongue
That's a delta.
of a serpent. As you see here, the people really have to understand
As you see, I attached a snake to this image and therefore made myself look like a crazy person. Is it convincing?
symbolism. I should also mention as well, this is a chevron. Chevron is 33 numerology as well. Now we'll get to the footage itself coming up. But before doing that, I want to show this clip with this one so-called astronaut. As you see here, NASA Artemis 2 Commander Reed Wiseman. Like he's some smart guy, Wiseman.
It's his name. It's literally just his name.
As they put this actor, never has been in space, just like none of the other previous so-called astronauts. They're just Freemasonic actors.
Harold Edelman's up to 9.
That's all they are. And let's take a listen to this clip here. Very interesting for a so-called wise man. Take a listen to what he says here.
This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome.
He states this is the first time they're going to send humans to the moon and low
That's just him misspeaking, methinks.
Earth orbit.
I don't know what else to tell you about it.
What is this ridiculous?
Or there's greater context around what he said that explains what he more specifically means by that. Obviously, we have sent people to the moon before. The first time for the Artemis program, that makes sense.
Ridiculousness, what he's speaking here, throughout history, of course, back in 1969 to 70.
Oh, counting all the so-calleds? That makes sense.
They supposedly land the moon. So he says the first time they're going to send humans to the moon. And this is flat out mockery. They've done this before. It's not the first time. But here is the actual so-called launch, getting into the topic with Artemis 2. Take a listen to this individual here, working for NASA, and as always coded.
Coming up at T-minus 33 seconds.
Coming up at T-minus 33 seconds.
First time to the moon and low Earth orbit? Okay.
As they're counting down to the launch.
Control shifts from the ground launch sequencer to the rocket's onboard.
Trey says, I saw someone else cover this. He's referring to the first time in his lifetime that there's been this much of an effort to get into space. So he means first time during his lifetime that we are sending someone to the moon, and first time in its lifetime that we are going to lower Earth orbit. Thank you.
Autonomous launch.
So, very important to point out here. What numbers do you see here? As I mentioned earlier, the number 9 and 33. Let's go back. This is not by chance or coincidence. They're putting the 9 and the 33 as we see here. And that gets back, as I shown in this article. Once again, the number 9
uses a... Oh, wait. It is citing an article, but is this an AI? This is an AI thing from Google, right? I think so. That's probably uses AI, technically. It's sourcing from an article, but it's still using AI to come up with the answer, so I'll do uses AI.
9 is mentioned as far as hours outside the lunar module and 33 hours in the moon. So again, people have to really pay attention. The signs, symbols, dates, numbers, and colors. This is what they're all about. And let's get back here once again to the 933 on screen. People know this when it comes to NASA. They always say T minus, because with NASA, when you add the T, you get Satan. S.
Does the T not stand for time? Like T, what? What?
A T.
It's not Satan. It's not Satan. Satanic on the bingo card. Absolutely satanic on the bingo card.
E-A-N. So everything is coded once again. Once people understand this world is nothing what it seems. Let's get right to it, the actual footage, and I'll break it all down, showing once again they don't go into so-called deep space. There is no deep space. All we have is inner space. Let's get right to it.
I do want to point out, I think it's a little funny that we refer to going to the moon as deep space. Like, I understand relatively from a human perspective it is, but from a cosmic perspective, calling the moon deep space is quite funny.
And first off, to start, I'm going to show amateur footage from Titusville, Florida, where it appears the rocket is going straight up into so-called space.
Yes, we did Unstable Deadbeat.
But it's all about perspective, and I'll get into that. But again, it appears it's going...
You might be thinking that because that's what it means, like, in sci-fi, Jade Monkey.
Straight up. From this
Unstable Deadbeat, can I see your bingo card? Just post the URL, and I'll check it, and then write your name down if you want.
vantage point. I'm going to show...
Thanks, Nathan.
Pause right here and stop right here. You see it coming down to the last part of this video. But it goes out further.
Take a look at this bingo card real quick. Uses AI, that's not how women work. Free space, satanic, and ancient wisdom. Indeedly do, Unstable Deadbeat. You are the winner for today. So I will write your name down. You get the gift sub, and you can choose to use that for you, anyone else, or randomly at any point in the future. Just let me know. Write that down. All right. Cool beans. So that is our official bingo winner for the day. We'll still play for fun, but that is our winner. Congrats, Unstable Deadbeat.
And more parallel, more horizontal from another angle. Get right into it. But definitely, this is not space. It stops here with the rocket. And if people don't understand...
I'm sorry, do you think it stops there because this is a still photograph and it's not moving? Like, in the video, they keep going. They keep going.
That this so-called moon mission going to outer space is nothing but smoke and mirrors. I can't help you. Let's continue on here. From a different vantage point, from Cocoa Beach, Florida, you're going to clearly see how the so-called space rocket is going to go horizontal to Earth.
It doesn't go entirely horizontal, but it doesn't go straight up either. I don't remember the actual, like, how many degrees they go, but in order to get into Earth orbit, it takes much less fuel and is way more efficient to take a curved path that goes against the orbital rotation of the Earth than it is to just go straight up. Anyone who's played Kerbal Space Program knows this. This is just a physics thing.
Basically parallel to the flat world we live on.
Screaming at the Radio, thanks for 55 months. It pitches over increasingly with altitude, yeah. Because it's not just trying to go up. It's trying to get into an orbit with the Earth before it actually slingshots out and goes to the moon.
Be clear.
Sorry, with rotation, not against. My bad.
This is the same launch, so there's no mistake about it. You can clearly see it's going to level out, flatten out. And people think this so-called rocket's going to space, give me a break. This is nothing more than an expensive firework. And there you see the detach of the two booster rockets, and the Artemis 2 itself disappears. But again, this is not going into space. I stated many times over the years.
Where does it disappear to then? Where do you think it went?
This is why they launch off the coast of Florida, off Titusville, at Cape Canaveral.
They launch off of Florida and other places that have ocean over them, so if anything goes catastrophically wrong, they don't crash a rocket or any of its, like, debris over populated areas. I think they also do some launches in Texas sometimes for the same reason. They do it over, like, the Gulf.
Of course, CC for 33. And with all these so-called space missions, all they do is, with these rockets, they just dump into the Bermuda Triangle. This is why they created this bad...
I'm sorry, are you aware that the Bermuda Triangle is one of the most traveled areas by boat in the world? They would be seen, likely, if they did that surreptitiously. Someone would see them at some point.
Stigma with the Bermuda Triangle, with ships and planes disappearing, so people, based on fear, do not explore too much in this area. So this is why things are happening. Obviously, the triangle itself, like a pyramid, so there's always the occultic aspect when it comes down.
It's a triangle because there's 3 points. There isn't an actual area of the ocean that is intrinsically the Bermuda Triangle. That's just what we call the area between the 3 points of Puerto Rico, Florida, and Bermuda Island. It's not like something intrinsic to the area. It's just a social concept that we've come up with to describe this specific area. It's not like it's an actual pyramid or triangle. It's arbitrarily an area between 3 points.
Of course, with the...
Steve with a Q says, once again, you've sent me down a rabbit hole. The T in T- does not specifically mean time, but distinguishes from L-. L- is the total expected time before liftoff, while T- is generally lower because it doesn't include the time carved out for the various holds for system checks, etc. Thank you. That's very interesting. Alton Undying, thanks for 42 months as the answer to life, the universe, and everything. I gotta reread Hitchhiker's Guide. It's been a long time. I think the last time I read Hitchhiker's Guide was when I had jury duty and I was in the waiting room and I started the book for like the 3rd time. Should read that again.
The pyramid or triangle...
Hey, Bullet Bill.
The inner angle...
I'm doing pretty good.
...is 60 degrees. In numerology, the zeros mean nothing, so you get your 666 in plain sight. But now let's take a look here at the official footage, once again from CBS. Of course, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer here. You have alive, in reverse, of course, is evil. But I want to touch upon here, of course, the orange rocket itself. And again, that 933, the 33 coded when it comes to the fallen ones, the fallen angels. And of course, 9, Satan's number once again. Let's get right to it with this so-called space mission.
There were other camera angles that didn't have that number because they weren't that camera. Is he going to talk about that?
Once again, going to the moon. And this is a long clip. It's about 8 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play as much that is relevant to be shown for the sake of this video. Here's the so-called rocket launch. And it's going to go black. It's going to go dark.
So-called rocket launch.
And there you go.
Looks like a rocket launch to me.
Black screen. Why is that? Just like SpaceX, the same thing.
Lady Ann says, going to the moon, y'all want anything? Hope in the human race. Do they have that on the moon?
And why don't we ever see the so-called astronauts inside the Artemis capsule during takeoff? We never get that video footage. Why? There's nobody in here.
I don't know the logistics of that.
Again, this
I don't know if that's even a thing you never see.
Rocket just dumps into the Bermuda Triangle without it.
Personally, I wouldn't want people filming me when I'm pulling multiple G's because your face is going to be all weird, but whatever.
Shot of a doubt. And again, depending on...
It's also like a very important period where they're like focusing on making sure the launch is going correctly. So I don't know. I get why they're not necessarily filming it if they aren't.
Your perspective, your angle
You don't want to have that extra distraction of like, I'm on camera right now, while you're very much trying to focus on making sure everything is going as planned while you're on this controlled explosion sending you to space.
It's going to appear the rocket's going to go straight up, but it's going to level out. Even with this footage from CBS, you're going to see this level out and definitely not go into so-called deep space. There's no deep space. We have a firmament above us and heavens above. And this is, again, you see the rocket leveling off. And they always like to do these cuts. There's never continuous footage. No one has ever seen a so-called space vehicle go into space. And never so-called...
You're watching it right now. No one has ever seen the thing we're looking at right now. Oh my. They're really not doing well after this launch, huh? They're just insisting. It feels more insistent. Does that make sense? Like, they'd make claims before, but at this point, this is, like, so damning to their worldview. They're just like, no! This is not real! Don't believe your lying eyes!
Return from space. And there you see it leveling off. Just like that footage from Cocoa Beach, Florida, where it's basically horizontal, flying parallel to this world we live in, this flat world we live in.
It's like mantras. This world, this flat world, this flat world. Like, it's a little creepy.
There you go. It's flattened out. Now it's coming down. Clearly. And you're going to see that separation with the rockets. And then you're going to see the Artemis capsule itself. But definitely coming down. This is not going into deep space. Even a child can see this.
That's a lot of their justification, too. Have you noticed that? They're not going in with specific pieces of evidence. They're just saying, look at that, and being incredulous. And that's their argument. It's just, hey, everyone can tell this is bullshit. And it's like, no, it's not. Most people don't see this and think it's bullshit. Because it isn't. Your vibes aren't evidence.
But grown adults, they're completely mind-controlled. Their minds don't even belong to them. They can't see the truth for what it is. And there you go. It's calming down. That's not going into so-called...
It's not going down.
...deep space. And look how they cut away during the rocket separation. You don't get it captured. Oh, now we see it.
Other people have it continuously on film if you really want it. No one other than flat earthers has been asking for the footage you're looking for where it's uncut. It may exist somewhere. I'm sure many news agencies have as much as they could get until it went high enough that they couldn't see it anymore. But usually in broadcast, you don't want to just show static images of one thing because people lose interest. So they edit to give sort of a more dynamic feel to what they're showing you. Not just, oh, here's a rocket going into space, but here's what it's like on the ground for people filming it and experiencing it. They're giving you a holistic experience of the launch, not just a still camera or a camera just tracking it the entire way.
But again, they're
willing to bet NASA has the uncut footage from every cam in their archive, and you could probably ask for it if it's not already publicly available. Like, a lot of this is publicly, it's all publicly funded, so you could probably do like a information request and get the footage you want. Sekhmet with 100 bits says, so many people are acting like 40k Warhammer orcs with their insanity, rigid mantra, and beliefs, but without the combat skills and powers. At least the 40k Warhammer orcs have, collective reality warping powers. Feels like a lot of people are trying to do that these days, though, without said powers, which isn't good.
Is the Artemis itself, the 2 rocket boosters, but it's coming down. Once again, to the Bermuda Triangle. And of course, these
Orion Cooper says on YouTube, all of the videos of the launch uncut are on NASA's website. Well, there you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Cuts away. Nothing but CGI. Because it's coming down. It's not going up. It's an easy way to know that footage is not real.
45 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. Thrusters on integrity and
You think if he tells himself that enough times it'll be true?
There you go. Nothing but smoke and mirrors once again.
There was a lot of smoke from the thrust of the rocket. Don't know if I saw any mirrors.
Just like all past missions and all future missions, nothing but smoke and mirrors. And we're going to get into the topic of the flat Earth. It's going to be mentioned by within the CBS studio.
We're about halfway through the stream, by the way. Got to do my little calls to action. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Helps a lot. If you're watching the VOD later, hype the video. And if you want to support the stream, you guys know all the ways. Bits, subscriptions, memberships. You guys know.
They're going to mention the flat Earth. But you see, definitely not going to space. Let's get right to it. And I'll play the audio portion with CBS talking about or mentioning the flat Earth. And take a listen to what is stated here once again by CBS and within the studio itself with the commentator mentioning flat Earth.
That's an amazing detail. It's an amazing detail. You know, I remember in 1969 when CBS covered the moon launch. The day after, this was in a documentary recently, the Flat Earth Society of the UK reconsidered their position.
And of course, the Flat Earth Society is nothing but a government-sponsored, controlled opposition group. They're not
Controlled opposition on the bingo card? Controlled opposition. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Sorry, I watched Lion King last night. Controlled opposition. What a wonderful phrase.
not real flat.
Controlled opposition. Gitara says, well, there are mirrors, the ones we left on the moon that we left on the moon the last few times we went. True.
Flat Earthers, they're made to put out some truth about flat Earth, obviously, but they put out disinformation as they have done over the decades, claiming Earth is a disk moving up in space.
He doesn't even believe in other flurfers. There are other flat earthers he agrees with, but he has some different opinions on the cosmology of flat Earth, so he argues with other flat earthers about it and calls them controlled opposition and stuff. They have beef.
And that is so-called gravity, and that's not the case at all. So again, they're controlling both sides of each debate, but definitely this rocket and the boosters themselves are ending up in the Bermuda Triangle. And this video footage from CBS, you're going to see nothing but animation.
That's actually kind of funny. Keep that in your back pocket for CBS continuing to become an absolute rag because of its Trump influence. CBS? That's not bad. You can steal that from a flat earther. That's fine.
From so-called outer space. You think that this is science? Is this real? Of course it's not real.
That would be a CGI, model of what's happening. I don't get why conspiracy theorist flat earthers say this every time. They're like, why are they showing us a model in CG of the flight instead of actually showing it? Because then they would have to launch a whole second rocket specifically designed to get footage of this, which would double the cost of the already very expensive mission. And then you would say, well, we don't have video of that spaceship, so now we need another spaceship to film the second filming spaceship. You can't win this battle. You can't win it. You can't win an argument with these people. They are not open to be persuaded.
This is all you need to show the general public is a fake garbage CGI rocket in so-called space, and they fall for a hook, line, and sinker.
Again, no one is using that CGI as evidence for the launch having happened. The vast majority of people, 99.9% of people, already believe that it's real, so it's not about convincing, it's about illustration.
Complete joke this is. Give me a break. And
He mad.
Speaking about animation, take a look here from this clip with Conan O'Brien with Buzz Aldrin from the year 2000.
In the year 2000!
The concept of duality that you're going to see taking place. Hot and cold, black and white, truth and lies. They must give the truth with all the lies.
Sekhmet with 100 bits says, controlled opposition. Controlled opposition. What a wonderful phrase. Controlled opposition for the rest of our days. It means we worry about the freedoms we have every day. It's our pathetically American philosophy. Controlled opposition. That was okay. That was pretty good.
If not, they're not working off the
I don't know if it had the exact amount of syllables correct, but like, it was better than I did, so.
foundation of Freemasonry. Let's get right to it with this interview once again with Buzz Aldrin, and he gives the truth with all the lies that are spoken about the moon landing so-called being real from 1969. Let's get to it.
I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you didn't.
was
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
You watched animation. That sound familiar, just like we saw here, just from a couple days ago. Nothing but animation. But again,
I would imagine there was some animation in order to aid people's understanding of the mission, similar to what this is, but it's not supposed to be evidence of it happening. It's just to explain certain things visually that they don't have the ability to film in that moment.
again, this is all you need to show the general public to fall for hook, line, and sinker. Now let's get to this clip from a few years ago with Buzz Aldrin being interviewed by this 8-year-old girl.
We've seen this clip a million times. It's the one where he misspeaks. Annoys the fuck out of me that they use this poor old man misspeaking to make their fucking arguments.
This astronaut actor.
Can we look at real quick? Hold on. As a cleanse real quick. Let me pull this up. I need this. Remember that time that Buzz Aldrin punched a conspiracy theorist? I do not condone violence, but we're gonna watch this video.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
I'm not trying to get
You tell him to get out of here.
This is a hotel.
We'll call the police.
We
pay.
Come
on in here. We'll call the police.
Solicit
You like that? Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
It doesn't, sir.
I know what he's saying in that clip, Chromatic Cuttlefish. I was talking about the one I skipped over.
I'm not.
Come with me, Buzz.
You really like attention, don't you?
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
To this conspiracy guy, why hasn't Russia debunked Apollo and Artemis too? They believe that all of the governments of the world are on the same team, so they don't believe that international rivalry exists. They think the Cold War was faked. So that's your answer.
And let's play this clip, and I'll
also sent the animation Aldrin was talking with Conan about. Is that in the live stream chat? Let me take a look. What chat is that in, Orion? Let me know.
Continue on with another astronaut.
This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome.
And we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. Yep, he is saying both. Oh, it's in a DM?
Now let's play this clip by fellow astronaut Don Pettit, who I call the head of mockery with NASA, and what he says regarding going back to the moon. Take a listen.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Yeah, and we've built it back again. What he was talking about was the fact that we wound down the Apollo program and the shuttle program subsequent to that, and we didn't have those technologies anymore, which we have now spent the better part of a decade rebuilding so we can do a moon mission again. This is literally what is happening.
Yeah.
Your Discord name is... Okay.
No time in human history does technology work backwards. This is absolutely ridiculous how Don Pettit claims they destroyed the technology to go to the moon.
Do they understand that literally the act of launching a rocket destroyed it? Like, now we have reusable boosters. We did not. until relatively recently. So anytime the Apollo missions used a rocket, it was a one-time thing. They can't reuse the rocket. So it was inherently destroyed by using it.
And it's so-called a painful process to build it back again. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I feel sorry for the grown adults that are nothing more than merely children.
Sorry, for some reason I'm just not seeing your message, Orion. Is it in requests? Do I not have you as a friend on there, maybe? Or did you get caught in spam? No? Are you sure you sent it to me? Because I don't see any messages like that. I don't have any new messages, in fact.
That believe whatever they're told by the mainstream media, so-called mainstream science. They don't have a mind of their own, completely indoctrinated in this lie system. And that gets into another form of duality here, with Michio Kaku stating flatly, pun intended,
Kaku,
that gravity does not exist, that we lied to you. Let's take a listen.
You sitting in your chair today? Does gravity pull you to the floor? No. There is no such thing as gravitational pull.
He's talking about the fact that it acts as a force, but it isn't technically a force. It is a force, but it's space-time bending, I think is what he's getting at here.
We lied to you.
So again, the truth must be revealed.
He's talking about lies to children.
With all the lies.
The concept. Google it. You put in the live stream chat? Okay, let me take a look. There it is. This is the animation that was being talked about.
100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. 5%. How many bites? 75 feet. That's looking good, down a half.
It even said animation on the screen.
60.
Cool. Where did that go? There we go.
Guys, they must give us a fragment of truth. Once again, if they don't, they're no longer working off the principle of duality. Let's continue on here.
Again, no, you've taken this out of context. He's not talking about deceit. He's talking about simplifying concepts for the general public to understand, when in reality it's a lot of math.
With more,
people do not like math.
More truth being revealed by Michio Kaku.
First of all, we are born scientists. When we're born, we wonder what's out there. We begin to wonder about the sun, life, the stars, what makes the oceans, the weather. We're born scientists. And then something happens. When we hit the danger years of junior high school and high school, that's when it's literally crushed out of us.
Those are the worst.
Every little flower of curiosity, said Einstein, is crushed by society itself. Because we have to learn all these facts, figures, memorization. We think that memorization is science. And that's not true at all. In science, we always say that you make observations, you have a theory, you go make more observations, and it's a very, very tedious process. Wrong. Nobody that I know of in my field uses the so-called scientific method. In our field, it's by the seat of your pants. It's leaps of logic. It's guesswork.
He's a futurist. That's his title, by the way. He's not like a scientist. He's a futurist. That's what he is. So yes, he does not use the scientific method to make wild claims about the future. He's not an astrophysicist, I don't believe. I think he was a theoretical physicist, but he's mostly done work in science communication for decades and writing books and stuff.
So again, the truth revealed.
And he is usually described as a futurist, kind of like Ray Kurzweil, I think.
And I have to really emphasize when Michio Kaku states here that there is no gravity, we lied to you. Gravity is required to make the globe work. If there's no gravity...
Yes, I have seen that bobbing for giblets, unfortunately.
Obviously, water can't stick to the bottom of a ball. So basically, he's exposing the globe. Even though he'll never come out and say the earth is flat, he'll constantly say we live on a globe, but he's also giving us a truth nugget in plain sight for people to figure out.
Basically, you were able to cherry pick some specific sentences from him that you think vindicate your position, so now you're saying that he's secretly telling the truth because you can use those arguments or those sentences to warp other people's perception of Michio Kaku into someone who agrees with you when he does not.
Definitely, this world is not as advertised, and people need to understand that. But again, to conclude this presentation, the truth is always revealed, and the truth is always in plain sight for those that have discernment and have eyes to see.
Through your career and your writing and your acting, you've inspired so many people to enter the sciences. How do you balance science with science fiction?
They're both the same. The mystery of science fiction is what I'm talking about. Science and science fiction are essentially the same.
They're not. This is Bill Shatner. He's an actor. He's not a scientist. I don't know why we're putting that quote in here, as if that's some axiom about science that he's just let slip, when in reality, it's pretty much part of William Shatner's whole shtick of taking credit for NASA. Like, I cannot express to you how full of himself William Shatner is. He literally basically says the entire present, all our technology, was inspired by Star Trek, and therefore NASA would not have happened if it wasn't for him. He's a very full of himself, not very nice person, if you're familiar with William Shatner as a person instead of just a performer. I still like Captain Kirk, but Bill Shatner is an asshole, according to basically everyone who has ever known him. Anyway, Jitara says, water can't stick to the bottom of a ball because of gravity. Also, we could just as easily say the ball Earth doesn't need gravity to be round, and it would hold just as much weight as every single flat Earth argument.
Thank you very much.
How do you prove a black hole? How do you know those gravitational waves proved the collision of two black holes?
Somehow, eventually, they are able to observe phenomena.
No, they can't observe. It's too far away. It's too theoretical. How do we know what they're saying is true?
So William Shatner is a dipshit?
You know what it really is? It's all science fiction.
Just my job 5 days a week. A rocket man. A rocket man. I can hear machinery blinding me with...
Okay, enough of William Shatner. Let's move on. Oh, what else do we have? Let's try... Let's see how much of this we can get through. It's Jake the Awake's live stream of watching Artemis 2.
Move on. Let's move on, shall we? All right, you guys. So apparently, we are going back to the moon. And by we, I mean NASA's going to supposedly fake another moon mission.
He changed his name from Jake the Asshole to Jake the Awake for better SEO. Fenekagami says, honestly, what he's talking about is the truth, not just the way conspiracy theorists think. It's basically the plot of every coming-of-age story for children. Society, more specifically the Epstein class, finds children's curiosity and creativity threatening, so in schools it's often the goal to hammer conformity into their heads so that they don't threaten the status quo. There's a reason young people are some of the strongest soldiers of basically every humanitarian cause.
Except this moon mission is a little different than the other moon.
Is this the homeless tweaker shelter guy? It is.
Missions. So we'll go ahead and check out the mainstream news report, see what they have to say, and then we'll watch the official launch together. And away we go. Artemis 2 Exposed begins now.
And for the first time in 50 years, NASA is sending humans to the moon. 4 astronauts gearing up for their 10-day, 230,000-mile mission. The Artemis 2 crew is set to launch tomorrow night from Cape Canaveral, weather permitting, of course. And it's a mission that they've been preparing for since 2023. Joining me now is NASA aerospace engineer and deputy program manager for the Orion program for Artemis 2, Debbie Korth. Debbie, so nice to meet you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Glad to be here.
This is a big deal. Obviously, all the conditions have to be perfect for takeoff tomorrow. How favorable are conditions looking this week? Is it all systems go yet?
As of now, all systems are go. We had a good meeting yesterday and went through everything on the spacecraft. No issues that we're working and just watching the weather, but things are looking really good for the launch.
Perfect. How's the crew feeling?
Did Trump announce a 2-week ceasefire? Did he?
The 4 astronauts.
Also, didn't Iran say no to a ceasefire recently? Is he just doing the thing again? I don't know. I'll wait till I see it. It would be hilarious if Trump once again literally Taco Tuesday'd. That'd be pretty good. I don't want people to die.
Yeah, I'm sure they're feeling pretty excited. They've been in quarantine for the last week or so. They're here at Kennedy Space Center. We don't get to see them, obviously, but talking to them before they headed out, really excited that this day is finally getting here.
The word quarantine.
Who aren't astronauts, we don't work at NASA.
I'm going to skip ahead till the actual thing pops up.
It's Logan, guys.
Wow, his connection is fucking shit.
All right, we'll go right to the launch.
RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Is your previous link the thing? Let me look. Or was there supposed to be a new one? No, because this is just another article about this. Did you mean to put a different link, or am I stupid?
Roll pitch.
All right, we've all seen rockets take off. So it starts where the rocket goes up. And then, of course, it won't be long before the rocket turns sideways. And then
again, that is how rockets work. This is something you could easily look up. You could do the math on it yourself. Trump agreed to suspend bombing and attack of Iran for 2 weeks. Oh, thank fuck. That fucking crazy idiot. Every day, you just hold your breath that he's not going to hurt more people.
And after that, we're going to see a shot, of course, of the rocket heading back down towards Earth. And they tell us that it's going around the Earth to achieve terminal velocity so that it can escape, or it goes around the Earth to achieve escape velocity. That's their claim. But there's always that funny moment where the rocket stops going up, turns sideways, starts coming back down. And then that's the moment when they switch the camera away to like the booster thrusters falling off the back. And then they switch away again. And then they're like, okay, it's in space now. So we know how this goes. We've all seen this many times. It's camera trickery. They cut.
It's not.
Switch away.
We see it go to space.
Over and over. You never actually get to see the rocket pop into outer space.
There's no single moment you pop into outer space. Does he think there's like a threshold and you go past it and all of a sudden you're in space? It's a gradient. The atmosphere is a gradient.
Right. You never get to see the rocket go from being in Earth's atmosphere to then being in weightlessness outer space. No, instead,
again, there's not a single moment where it just turns into space. It's gradual.
You see the rocket go up, leave your view, and start coming back down in the ocean.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston, now controlling the flight of integrity on the Artemis 2 mission around the moon.
Chitara says, also, wouldn't we be unable to see something that small that's in space and not reflecting a lot of light in the daytime? Yeah, as it gets further away, its angular size is going to be smaller, and eventually you're not going to be able to see it anymore. Steve with a Q says, that's what launch window means, Hannah. You have to launch while God's holding the window to space open.
The integrity, AMT high. AMT high.
On time, passing 30 seconds into the flights. Integrity passes the alternate eco. Target milestone. Mission Control Houston seeing good performance on the 4 main engines. Space Launch System core stage. Integrity, 3 miles in altitude. Traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour.
Piped in crowd noise.
No, that's the people there filming it. And the people watching it. There's footage of the crowd watching it.
Woo! Go Rocket! Woo!
Yes, people are impressed by the engineering and calculations that it takes to get human beings into space. It's a very complex task. And when they do it, it's impressive.
That guy and lady get to fly near the moon. Woo!
I like when conspiracy theorists accidentally make themselves look like assholes.
Mission elapsed time, passing 1 minute, approaching max Q.
On.
And we officially...
Why doesn't he visit a launch himself? Because it would be devastating to his worldview.
Actually now have a sideways rocket.
On fully on. Stan, we have you loud and clear on Ponce on.
Now we officially have a rocket heading towards the ground.
Nope.
Have you the same?
What happened to this man's whimsy? No idea. Have I seen the video of the Artemis 2 launch someone took from their plane window? I have, but I'll show it to you guys because it's very cool. I think I actually saw a different one. So there are multiple plane videos of this, apparently. Penigami says that ceasefire and delay doesn't mean much, unfortunately. I bet Israel got real excited about us potentially putting everything in Iran on borrowed time, so I wouldn't be surprised if Israel starts attacking the infrastructure to get us to follow through. Israeli officials have been quoted as saying that the war in Iran will be fought to the last American soldier. It's possible Hegseth will just attack behind Trump's back. I'm gonna hope for the best here. I'm gonna hope things work out. They're not gonna. But I can have that delusion for a little while. Oh, that thing's fucking booking it. Holy shit. Very cool. Where did this idiot go? There he is.
Signal transfer confirmed as Integrity and its crew go supersonic.
Yeah, see, they want you to believe that now it's on its way into outer space. Meanwhile, we're looking at a rocket.
That is where rockets go.
Coming back down to Earth, right?
Again, it's not. It's not coming back down.
90 seconds into the Artemis 2 mission. Integrity is 14 miles in altitude, 8 miles downrange, traveling more than 2,600 miles per hour.
Not in that moment. You know what I mean, Astral Storm. At least not the part with the people in it.
1 minute 50 seconds of mission elapsed time, standing by for main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation expected at...
And even though it's on its way to outer space, the camera can still zoom in and get this perfect shot.
Do you think they didn't bring a lens that would allow them to see the rocket ship as long as possible? Like, you know that they knew that they were going to film a rocket, right? Are you serious?
Of it coming back down towards
the 2-minute 9-second mark.
Again, it's not coming back down.
We see throttle down.
And then they cut away to this, like this is the crowd there watching it. Yeah, sure.
It is.
Nice B-roll footage that you just stuck.
Like, he doesn't even believe the crowd watching it is real. That's a level of delusion, right? He doesn't even think they have people watching this? Is he not aware that there are tons of people alive who have seen launches of various spacecraft? We had a whole ass shuttle program at one point. What are you talking about? Fenigami says, I have some hope things will work out too. Unfortunately, I feel like Americans are going to have to feel a lot more pain, and the elites have to be scared a sequel to the French Revolution will happen before the idiots running this war will back off. Yeah, I don't foresee any sort of revolutionary action taking place in America, ever. Maybe I'm pessimistic, though.
Stuck in there.
There's a video which doesn't cut at all, I'm sure.
There.
Confirmed separation. Main engines throttling up, guidance converged.
Oh, there we go. Dropped some boosters. Now those are going to come down. What bullshit is he formulating?
Yourself and see
oh,
this.
He's skipping
Meanwhile,
again.
When you look at it from this angle, there's no way you can see people down there. Like, you can't see any people or anything. So they make it look from this angle like it's so far above the earth. But then when they show the other angles, like all the cameras are able to focus in on it. So this doesn't quite match.
Upper stage RCS ready. Copy all, Stan. Main
to the flight, 5,000 miles per hour.
See, then they cut to the boosters coming off the back, and then they act like it's the same as the shot that they were showing you earlier.
1,000 miles per hour.
Why do you think it wasn't?
Seamless. It all just fits together seamlessly, doesn't it? RY says,
it's cutting between the ground and the ship.
Land on the Moon guy talks about recent launch and then pivots to talking about the 49ers. I was watching the recent rocket launch from the Artemis.
I'm sorry, is he doing a racist caricature accent? Granite Cuttlefish says, that's not the boosters, that's the fairing coming off the ICPS, whatever that means.
And I was very displeased to find out that they were not going to land on the moon, not gonna land on the moon, not land on the moon, not land on the moon, not land on the moon. They don't take the rover, they don't go to the moon, and then you know that they don't go back soon. They don't rove left, they don't rove right. And of course, you know they do not rove all night. They don't land on the moon, don't land on the moon, don't land on the moon, don't land on the moon. And of course, this next season, the 49er is going to win the Super Bowl, and then they're going to shoot the firework in the air. It's going to be way more...
We unfortunately do not have just a racism space on the bingo card.
Impressive than the lackluster Artemis rocket launch when the 49er win the Super Bowl. The celebration is going to be off the hook, my friend. The fireworks is going to be exploding in the sky, making everything beautiful. All right, there you go.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good place to move on from him. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, moving on.
evening of April 1st, 2026. The evening of April 1st, 2026, a 322-foot rocket blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. 322. Where have I heard that number before? Oh, I remember. It's the Skull and Bones, but that just must be a coincidence. Anyway, the rocket blasted off, and it was the same concrete slab that launched every Apollo mission to the moon half a century earlier. 4 people were inside, and according to NASA, they are the first humans to leave Earth's orbit since 1972. The capsule is called Integrity, and the spacecraft around it is called Orion. And the program that built all of it, the rocket, the spacecraft, the mission itself, the multi-billion-dollar plan to put humans back on the moon, well, it's called Artemis. But you know that. And according to NASA, they specifically chose that name Artemis for the moon mission because it's Apollo's, the god Apollo, by the way, his twin sister. And
that makes sense. Benigagami says, you misunderstand my point. Revolution doesn't have to happen. Rooting for stuff like all the rationing this war may force on America is going to put the fear of revolution in the elites' heads. Keep in mind, all of these people are idiots who are convinced there can't ever be consequences to their actions and the pores are under their control. When reality starts knocking at their doors, that might be what moves them. After all, they can only care about themselves. 50% of this country, no matter how poor and hungry they get, will blame immigrants and people poorer and hungrier than them for their suffering instead of people in power. I fundamentally do not believe that the American populace is capable of the kind of self-reflection that you are positing in any way.
And the name fit. And here's where it gets crazy, guys, because in 2019, in a press release, they said, well, they described the goddess that they named their flagship Artemis program after, using a phrase that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. They called her, you're not going to believe this, the torch bringer. Okay, the torch bringer. Let that sink in. Literally, that's what they said. Because when I read that line, the torch bringer, well, it basically broke something in the back of my mind, because that's a phrase that I've seen before in a text that's a lot older than that NASA press release. And when I traced back that word back to ancient Greece and found out what the
we're doing syncretism.
Greeks actually called this Roman goddess, and what it was translated, what the Romans translated it to, and also what the Latin version of this word means, it's sitting in every single Bible around the world. Well, guys, I knew that I couldn't let this go, because what I found is a lot more strange than most people can understand. Now, before we get into it, I want to back up a little bit, because first we need to meet the men who built the institution that built this rocket, okay? NASA. Because one of the men who built NASA, who built JPL itself, and who was instrumental in the American rocket program, well, he would have recognized that word immediately. And the other man, well, he would have dropped to his knees and started praying, okay? Because the history of the American rocketry program has 2 founding fathers. They worked in the same decade, and they shaped the same institution. And I'm not sure that 2 humans could
Von Braun's gonna be one. I don't know who the other one's gonna be.
have been any more different. The first, you probably heard of him, Jack Parsons. He was born in 1914. I think it was in Los Angeles. A brilliant man, right? According to mainstream, anyway. He was self-taught, okay? Ask yourself, how does a man who's self-taught understand rocketry, understand rocket science, and is able to build an organization such as NASA, such as JPL?
Through a lot of trial and error, I would guess, reading books, coming up with a lot of shit on your own. Like, I don't know what to tell you. People can learn things sans institutions. How do you think we gain knowledge in the first place of things that we've never known or tried before?
Okay, ask yourself that. Because in the 1930s, this man, Jack Parsons, helped found a group at Caltech that would later become the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, all right, JPL. The institution that still, right now, to this very day, manages NASA's deep space missions. And Jack Parsons himself invented the first ever castable composite rocket propellant, okay? It's solid fuel chemistry that became the basis for the space shuttle and the Minuteman intercontinental ballistic missiles that carry America's nuclear
Very weird that he said space shuttle first.
warheads, all right? These all came from a man who was self-taught. And a man who was...
The space shuttle was way later. That's like in the 80s. Like, why are you going to space shuttle?
Also deeply embedded in the occult.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about Jack Parsons, if I could.
He was an occultist.
He was a Satanist.
Pure evil.
And that SLS rocket that...
Look at those clips from movies. That sure does show something. Miss Hire says this footage not shot by NASA.
What's it gonna take? Like I said, I'm just gonna kind of fly through some of these.
For prop messages, we see 2 and ICPS.
What's the timestamp supposed to be on this?
Your hands.
That's a replay. This part?
Yeah. Welcome back. Our
Scope too high.
And there's with it. Is watching. I hope you're feeling the excitement at home. I have never
go for purge sequence 4.
I've with this track that.
Do it. Launch the rocket.
Expecting engine
15.
ignition at T-minus 6 seconds. So you'll see the RS-25s light up. So you see the ignition of the core stage, my friends. Holy crap! And ignition. That is liftoff of Artemis 2, the first time humans are going back to the moon since 1972. This will be the furthest humans have ever flown away from planet Earth. Let's go, my friends.
Good roll pitch. Roger, roll pitch.
Benekagami says even the racists will riot when they get hungry. Who do you think? You are assuming people are rational actors and can correctly pinpoint the source of their problems despite being heavily propagandized to, and already have proclivities for hating people less well off than themselves, who have been trained by decades of propaganda to blame poor people. They are not going to change their minds because they're hungry. They're just going to get angry and continue the same maladaptive patterns of behavior that have gotten us into this situation in the first place. Anyway, reading the rest of it, Fenekagami says even the racists will riot when they get hungry, though yes, they will riot for the wrong reasons and target the wrong people. The point is order will break down, as we've seen with Luigi. Nothing terrifies rich people more than the idea that they aren't in control. Human imagination terrifies them more than reality does. Rich people would love nothing more than to have their racist underlings fighting other poor people to distract them, while the rich people do whatever they fucking do while everything's falling apart. I do not understand how you think that rich people would see that and go, ooh, we're in trouble. No.
AMT high. AMT high.
Are you kidding?
Anyway, back to the conspiracy theorist. Where were we? Which one were we on? Had we just ended one and now we're... No, I started a new one, right? So this one? This one.
It launched Artemis 2, the one that everybody just watched on April 1st, 2026. Well, guess what? It uses twin solid rocket boosters that are built on the solid fuel technology that traces its lineage back to Jack Parsons and his chemistry. This man, Jack Parsons, the occultist, his chemistry is physically inside of this rocket, inside of most of the rockets that NASA launches.
The chemistry is satanic.
And he chanted Aleister Crowley's hymn to Pan before every single rocket test. Think about what this means. Think about the implications of this.
That someone with different spiritual beliefs than you worked on rockets.
At the very foundation of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the very foundation of the space mission itself is based on occultism.
So because that one guy was into weird bullshit, you think that the entire space program is satanic. Not a good argument, but it is a statement, I guess. So there's that.
What some people might call Satanism. Now let's talk about Aleister Crowley real quick, the man that the British press deemed the most wicked man in the entire world. Parsons became...
Famously, the British press is very honest and never exaggerates their claims about people.
Came ahead of Aleister Crowley's California Lodge. Seriously. And by the way, he gave most of his salary to Aleister Crowley's organization. And then in 1947, a man named L. Ron Hubbard.
Is Greek mythology the occult? These people think everything outside of specific kinds of Christianity are the occult. These people think Catholicism is occult.
Spent 3 days conducting what would be called the Babylon working ritual in the desert with Jack Parsons himself. Now, the Babylon working ritual it's a satanic ritual. They call it sex magic, and it's basically a ritual to summon an entity from the Book of Revelation. Crowley himself thought that this ritual went too far, and Parsons swore an oath declaring himself, in his own words, mind you, basically the Dajjal, the Antichrist, all right? And Jack Parsons, he died in a mysterious explosion in 1952. He blew himself up. And by the way, Jack Parsons has a
He worked with rocket fuel. Is it that mysterious?
crater on the...
Like, I don't know if that's mysterious. The guy known for developing rockets and working with rocket fuel blew up. Wonder what happened.
Dark side of the moon.
Have I ever covered people who believe in evil music notes? Like specific notes are evil? I don't think I've seen that.
Named after him. And if you think that's strange, you're going to think it's even stranger that JPL, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, was effectively founded on Halloween night. Halloween night is the highest...
Ooh, I'm so spooked by this holiday. Ooh, All Hallows Eve. What could be less Christian than that?
satanic holiday, and proof of this can be found in this U.S. government document released by the Department of Justice called Satanic Cult Awareness. So the second founding father of JPL, of NASA, was none other than Werner von Braun himself. Born in Germany in 1912, he was a Nazi. And this Nazi...
You can shit on Werner von Braun. I don't have a problem with that.
He was brought to America and given a position of power in the United States government through Operation Paperclip. And if you look at Werner von Braun's history, it's horrifying. It's horrifying that he was able to commit these war atrocities in World War II. He was able to do these terrible things to people, and then he was brought over and given this position of power. This is...
Yeah, most Nazis got away with it. Most Nazis got away with it.
Horrifying, people.
I know that's depressing, and we've kind of formed a narrative where we just go, well, those trials happened, so obviously it's fine. Most Nazis that didn't die got away with it and continued to live the rest of their lives. Many were still in positions of power in German government after the war. I don't know how to break this to people. Justice is only a thing if we choose to do it. Most of the time we don't.
So what did von Braun do? Well, he designed the Saturn V rocket, the machine that actually carried people to the moon. Well, if you believe the moon landing is real. Anyway, so after arriving to America, von Braun, on the surface anyway, he supposedly converted to Christianity. Now, whether or not this is true or if it was some sort of PR...
Von Braun didn't have a choice. It was join the party or get waxed. Yeah, if your option is join the Nazi party or get killed... You try to do everything in your power to run away, or you allow yourself to be killed. I don't know how else to put it. You don't get to say, well, I was just following orders. They were pointing a gun at my head, so I had to develop rockets that were going to be used to further the Nazi cause. You should have let him shoot you. I don't know how else to... If I had some sort of skill or ability that a fascist group or Nazi-esque group needed to further their wants, it is my job to keep that skill or knowledge from them at all costs, including my life. I cannot accept that as a justification. Oh, they were going to kill him otherwise. Okay, be dead then. Or at least sabotage them or something. Jesus Christ.
Our stunt, who knows? But according to the records, he was a Christian. And his favorite verse was Psalm 19, that the heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament shows his handiwork. So, and he liked this verse so much that he put it on his gravestone. Now you can speculate as to why he put this on his gravestone or why that's
Sekhmet says that, or absolute Sabbath. Oh, never mind, you said it.
his favorite verse. But I think the connections are a lot more, let's just say, strange than they're made out to be. So here you have two men, the same decade, one chanting satanic hymns from Aleister Crowley's rituals, and the other one was supposedly praying to Jesus. And the program that these men created And mind you, they didn't work together, but both of their work were instrumental in creating what we now know as, the NASA space program. Their work is what made the Artemis 2 mission possible in the first place. So here's where the investigation starts, because things are about to get strange. So in 2019, NASA needed a new name for its lunar program, and they chose Artemis. So a man named Jim Bridenstine, who was the administrator of the time at NASA, he explained it simply. He said that Apollo's twin sister, Artemis, the first woman to the moon, the goddess is female. It fits, right? The spacecraft that carries the crew inside the Artemis program itself is called Orion, the name for the constellation. In Greek mythology, Orion is the hunting companion of Artemis. And the thing is that every version of that myth, and every version, there's a problem. There's a problem with how the story ends. And we'll get there too, because we're going to get to the ancient record, and it's going to make everything a lot more clear. Because once you get past the surface level, it's like, wow, I can't believe this is actually true. It can't be a coincidence, even though some people might say it is. But the way I see it, there's no way that this is...
What do you even mean a coincidence? It's just a variety of things that are unrelated to each other. We already had doesn't know what a coincidence is, but I'd say this is that.
Actual coincidence. It can't be. So before we get to the ancient record, though, I want to show you something. I want to show you something pretty interesting.
Fenekagami says there are Navy officers possibly sabotaging their own ships right now, so fight the Iran war, always have a choice, though it may not be a fair one, and you always have options, though they may not be good ones or work out. Ultra Undying says Prime Video has a lore short film about the neo-Nazi and his occult origins. Really interesting. Oh, okay.
Interesting, because in 1960, a NASA engineer named Abe Silverman, he proposed the name for the agency's moon program. He chose Apollo, the Greek sun god, the twin brother of Artemis. And when people asked why a Greek god, Silverstein's answer, you want to know what it was? He said this. He said that Apollo riding his chariot across the sun was appropriate for the grand scale of this moon mission that they were planning. So they chose an ancient god to be the face of the first moon mission, Apollo. So that decision, it's not something that happened in a vacuum. It actually set the precedent, because the next one, Mercury, the guide who leads the souls to the underworld. And then you have
Ad on Rumble.
Gemini, the divine twins. You have one.
The ad didn't load.
One mortal and one divine twin. And like we said, Apollo, the sun god, riding towards the heavens. And then for nearly 50 years, things started to change a little bit. You had Skylab, you had the space shuttle missions, you had the International Space Station. No mythological names at all. The mythology seemed to vanish from NASA's programs altogether. So here we are now, and NASA decided to go back to the moon. The mythology here...
Did I say neo instead of non? I'm not sure.
With Artemis,
I might have misspoke.
It came back with it. And the names they chose, they don't just reference random Greek gods. No, it actually tracks with this overarching story with the actual relationships inside the mythology itself. Artemis is Apollo's twin. The spacecraft, Orion, the hunter, is connected to Artemis as well. I mean, you can spend hours mapping these like on a whiteboard or something, because the connections just keep coming. The precision... it kind of started to bother me, because these aren't random. These aren't random selections from a book of myths. They're connected, they're intentional, and somebody has been doing their homework. I mean, they're choosing...
It would basically take perusing a Wikipedia page for 5 minutes to get the connection between Artemis and Apollo and making that decision.
Using names that fit...
Like, he's acting like this is some deep, esoteric knowledge. You could literally just read a Wikipedia about Greek myths. What the fuck?
Mythological architecture so sophisticated and so specific that no PR department in the world would have a reason to maintain this unless there's a specific reason behind it. And
again, they're doing a tradition, and they're nerds.
Here's the timeline, people. November 2022, NASA launched the Artemis 1. It was an uncrewed test flight. There was no humans on board, just some mannequins, I think. And then the Orion capsule flew around the moon for I think it was 25 days or something like that, and then came back. The engineers found a cracked heat shield, and it was pretty splintered up and pretty bad, worse than their models predicted. So they spent 3 years trying to figure out what went wrong and fixing it. On April 1st, 2026, they tried it again, and this time there was 4
Mossloth says Gisela Pearl saved lives while working as an inmate nurse by secretly performing abortions. There's always a choice. True.
People inside. And this is what we're talking about now, right? Artemis 2, and it's a 10-day flight around the moon.
Something, throw yourselves on the gears!
And they won't land on the moon, right? That will come later. I think it's for 2028. but they're basically going to swing around the far side of the moon. They're going to lose contact with Earth entirely and supposedly travel farther away from this planet than any human has ever gone before, according to NASA, if you believe that official story. Now, if you believe the official stories of the moon landings, you have, I think it's July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11. 2 men land on the moon. One of them is Buzz Aldrin. And history itself sees Buzz Aldrin as like the second person ever to walk on the lunar surface. But here's the thing about Buzz Aldrin. Most people don't realize what he brought with him. This is a fact. It's a fact that he brought this item with him. Even if you don't believe the moon landings, this is still part of the history. So Buzz Aldrin was a 33rd degree Freemason. He carried a special document from the Grand Master, a document that granted him authority to claim Masonic territorial jurisdiction of the moon. Seriously.
That is such a nerdy thing to do with your little club. Hey, you're going to the moon? You're part of our little club. Here's a letter that says our club is on the moon.
Seriously, he carried a handmade silk flag that was embroidered with the words Supreme Council 33, Southern Jurisdiction, USA. He brought that to the moon. He was claiming the moon for Freemasonry, for the god of the Freemasons. Okay, after the Eagle landed, he stepped outside and Aldrin performed a ritual. And guys, NASA kept it quiet for decades. The Grand Lodge, however, the Grand Lodge of Texas, it later chartered the
Gitara says, if we end up leaving Iran alone, I think it will be a bit funny that Pete warrior culture and crusader larper Hegseth led a failed and unpopular war effort after all that blustering last year with Trump's name on it. I would love to believe that a failed war would negatively impact the alpha male and macho image the administration keeps trying to upkeep, but the cult will find a way to rationalize this. They always do.
Tranquility Lodge, number 2000, a Masonic lodge with jurisdiction on the moon. And the overall manager of the Apollo program, the man responsible for every single mission from Mercury through Apollo, well, yeah, that man's a Freemason. Not only
yeah, the Freemasons was a pretty popular club for men back in the day. It was like an adult fraternity, so a lot of people back in the day, people were Freemasons, men were Freemasons. It's not as common these days, obviously, but it used to be a thing.
Not only is he a Freemason, he's a 33rd degree Freemason. So here you have two 33rd degree Freemasons who are intimately involved in the moon landing, and they claimed it for the god of the Freemasons. It was a ritual. And guys, this is all.
The god of the Freemasons is the Christian god. Freemasonry is a Christian thing. Up until relatively recently, they just said you have to have a belief in some sort of higher power. But traditionally, it was a thing that involved Christianity as part of the beliefs.
All documented. It's documented by the Freemasons themselves and their own publications. They admit it, and they don't try to hide it. They're actually proud of it, and I think it deserves to be taken seriously. Like I said, whether or not you believe the moon landing actually happened, the fact that they're claiming that they brought this 33rd degree Mason and did this ritual, this Masonic ritual on the moon, tells you everything you need to know about it. And guys, you have to understand that most NASA employees, they're
Masonic rituals on the moon.
They're engineers.
They're gonna have curtains and do weird handshakes.
They're physicists. They're not
the horror.
Not mystics. They're not psychics. They're not Satanists. But the ones in charge, well, apparently they were at one point, and according to
apparently, that's the argument. Apparently. How is that apparent? Who said that's apparent?
To some, they still are.
Whenever the stream ends, this is the perfect video to end on. I would agree. We will watch that later.
Today. So I looked, and I looked hard, and I didn't find any evidence. There was no documents, there was no whistleblower, there was no smoking gun. But that doesn't mean that the story goes cold, because here's what I did find. The names track. The names, they more than track. They track through the mythological relationships with precision that's really hard to explain.
Again, you could look at the Wikipedia page and be like, oh, this is the name of a deity or a thing in mythology that's related to this other thing. Let's name it that. It's not that deep.
By like just random happenstance, all right?
It's not random. Human beings made these decisions.
There's a specific word in the ancient record that really proves everything. It was a title given to this specific goddess by her own priests, documented in ancient texts that have been sitting in libraries for more than, 2,000 years? Nobody at NASA has ever addressed this. Nobody at NASA has ever explained this coincidence, right? And this coincidence is a word that when you translate it, it changes this investigation from dealing with pagan goddesses to dealing with Satan himself.
I like the ominous music cut to twink Lucifer.
With Lucifer, with the whole Luciferian
No, not the evil twink!
Doctrine. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So let's start with what most people think they know, right? You have Artemis, the goddess of the moon. It's Apollo's twin sister. There's a silver bow, there's a deer at her side. That's the version that you'll get from a 2-minute Wikipedia search. And it's not wrong, really. It's just not finished. That's not the whole story. Because in order to understand the whole story of who Artemis really is, you have to go back farther and you have to look at the bigger picture. Because this surface level Artemis isn't the full picture of who Artemis is. In the ancient world, Artemis was 1/3 of a triad. Think about that, a triad. It was 3 goddesses who were worshipped together. And these 3 goddesses are identified as 3 faces, 3 different faces behind the same power. It's basically a perversion of the Trinity. It's a perversion of—
Oh my God! It's goddesses in threes. So therefore, it must be about my religion that has a Trinity.
Of God, Christ, and the Holy.
Not everything is about you or your specific beliefs. Fenekagami says, I want to apologize for earlier. I don't know if I was talking past you or failing to communicate my point. What I do know is that I don't want to fight. I'm tired of people who mostly agree fighting over dumb BS. I'm going to try to just back off and not pick fights and not turn into some weirdo in chat. I won't want you to know there's no animosity. I'm not mad at you. I guess I'm just frustrated by continually seeing people hold out hope that all of a sudden the American populace is going to do the right thing. And I just don't think the American populace has ever done the right thing without being forced, without literally being forced to do it. So I just don't have a lot of hope. And I'm not trying to spread doomerism. It's just I don't hold out a lot of hope for what America's going to look like in my lifetime through the rest of my life.
Holy Spirit. But these 3 goddesses are considered to be one. So you have Artemis, who is the maiden.
Wouldn't the Artemis Trinity predate Christianity? In reality, yes. But you have to understand, because these people think that Christianity is true and real, they think that the Trinity has always been a thing since the beginning of time.
Earth.
So factually, you are correct. Within the worldview of a Christian, no.
The hunt, virginity. And then you have Selene, the mother, heaven, the moon itself. And then, here's the one that makes a lot more sense. Here's the one that brings it all together. The third one is Hecate.
Hecate, queen of darkness, revenge yourself against the Thessalians.
The goddess Hecate has spoken. Hecate, queen of darkness, you've always helped me.
Artemis, Selene, Hecate. Who's Hecate? Hecate's the crone, the underworld, the crossroads itself. Hecate, historically, throughout the entire history of our civilization, was known as the goddess of witchcraft, sorcery, necromancy, communication with the dead. And a 5th century BCE, there was a sculptor from Athens who carved the very first known triple-formed Hecate statue. 3 women back to back, looking in 3 different directions at one time. That image stuck. And the Romans, well, guess what? They worshipped all 3, Diana, Luna, and Trivia. And they combined all 3 of these into one.
Mossloth says those 3 goddesses are not all the same. They can be read that way, but Selene predates Artemis. Source, I'm big into Greek mythology since my middle name is Selene. Oh, nice.
Singular entity. And
so he's doing a zeitgeist thing where he's bending things to fit the narrative.
Guess what? Modern witchcraft, modern Wicca, they worship this exact triad, this exact triple goddess. This is the central framework to the religion of—
You're in your crone era. That's my plan for the future. I never got to be like a cute young woman, so I'm gonna go for really haggish. We're gonna go full witch with it.
Of witchcraft. You have the maiden, the mother, and the crone, all right? And this is the exact symbolism that is on our Artemis 2 mission. And here's the thing, guys. When you invoke one face, the ancient world understood that you're invoking all 3 of them. The 3rd face is the queen of the witches. And if you're still here after that, you're going to be ready for what comes next, because Artemis carried torches. In the ancient world, this wasn't decorative. This was liturgical, all right? This The symbolism of Artemis carrying a torch really brings this whole thing home, and it solidifies just how creepy this whole Artemis 2 mission really is. So let's go. There's a thing called the Orphic hymns. They're basically ancient Greek ritual prayers. Some of the oldest texts that survive call Artemis the torchbearer. There's this ancient Greek 2nd century historian named Pausanias, and he recorded her Roman title. You're never going to believe what it is. Diana Luciferia.
Wait, what? Could it be Lucifer?
Lucifer is an angel, a fallen angel.
Oh, that's funny. He's using a clip from a movie where this is a mentally ill person in this movie. I like this movie. It's called The Voices with Ryan Reynolds. Check it out if you're a horror fan. It's like a dark horror comedy. But basically within this movie, he is an incredibly delusional person, and him talking about Lucifer here is supposed to be a signal to the other character that, oh my god, he's crazy, he's gonna kill me. So it's interesting that they use that clip, which is textually an insane person ranting like an insane person.
Artemis the light bearer. Her official name was Phosphoros, the name her actual priest used in rituals. It's documented by multiple...
You can't picture Ryan Reynolds in horror? Have you ever seen the Amityville remake? No, it's mostly a horror comedy, I should say. It's a horror comedy, so definitely don't go in expecting like a straight horror movie. It's definitely a black comedy. Gitara says, all this talk about pagan gods, and he can't even be bothered to bring up Paul, the ancient god of entertainment and good vibes. I doubt this man's knowledge of the esoteric and the divine.
Sources, independent of each other. This is a piece of linguistics that really does change everything about this investigation, and it changes everything about the Artemis moon mission itself. So here's the thing that brings this whole thing together. The Greek word for Phosphoros, remember, Phosphoros is her Roman name. A Latin word for Phosphoros means Lucifer, the light bringer. Guys, this is the exact same thing. The light bringer, Lucifer, Phosphoros, Hecate, Artemis, it's all the same name. This is not interpretation, guys. It's translation. And
it's a misunderstanding of translation.
Confirmed through ancient texts, all right? The star called Venus in Greek is Phosphoros. In Latin,
you're doing syncretism, basically. Quite sloppy syncretism.
It's called Lucifer. Artemis was called Phosphoros. Phosphoros is Lucifer. It's not metaphorically, okay? It's linguistically. This is the same word, just said a different way. In NASA in 2019, their own press release described this goddess that they named the program after. They called her the Torchbringer.
Ad placement.
Literally, they said it. They used the exact title, the Torchbringer, the Lightbringer, Lucifer.
Dude, this is crazy. They're saying the Lightbringer predates the title of Lucifer being applied to the mythological character that you're referring to as Satan. Someone being called the Lightbringer doesn't mean they're referring to the same person within your mythology.
Crazy. Can't be a coincidence, right?
Now let me show you what they named the spacecraft, because in every single version of the surviving ancient Greek myths, Artemis killed Orion. Different versions, different reasons, same ending. She killed him, and she placed his body among the stars. Okay? Does this symbolism, does it make sense what I'm getting at here? Because Artemis killed Orion and placed the body among the stars. Now, I'm not saying that something's going to happen. What I'm saying is the symbolism here is unmistakable, and you can't argue it. It's either coincidence.
I wouldn't even know how to begin arguing with it. It's just pure insanity.
Or it's not. I think this whole thing lines up way too specifically to be coincidence. What do you think? And remember, NASA named the crew spacecraft inside the Artemis program Orion. The humans ride inside of the body of the hunter that was killed by the goddess Artemis, carried to the heavens by a program bearing her exact name. And also in Egyptian cosmology, the constellation Orion wasn't just a hunter, it was the Lord of the Dead, the god of the afterlife and resurrection. The Egyptians believed that the souls of the pharaohs traveled to Orion's belt to unite with Osiris in eternity. And some researchers argue that the Great Pyramids of Giza themselves align with those specific stars. So guys, bottom line here, I've looked at the ancient Greek sources. I've read the scholarly analysis of this. I've looked at what the ancient Christians carved into the temple of Artemis in ancient Ephesus.
This guy in his voice is a spitting image to Jesse Plemons' character in Begonia. I loved Begonia, by the way. If you haven't seen Begonia, pretty fun film.
And the most complete...
It's about conspiracy theorists. It's a remake of the movie Save the Green Planet. Pretty good.
Explanation that I can come up with why every single name in this program, this Artemis program, points to the same exact place that are sitting in these ancient manuscripts that were written thousands of years before NASA even existed. I think that the ancient texts, they describe exactly what we're seeing. It's a spiritual architecture that's behind the names of these programs. And these are the same entities that the nations worship. And the name of the program itself, Artemis, well, like I said before, it's Phosphoros. That's what the ancient Romans called Lucifer. So
no.
This is Luciferian in its very nature. And linguistically, there's no denying that fact, right? So I'm just looking at the names of these gods and these goddesses, and I'm trying to piece together what's going on here. And, you know, I mean, maybe it's all a big coincidence, you know, I'm not sure. All I know is that there is no mistaking the linguistic accuracy of, like, these specific names that have been named.
The linguistic accuracy.
That are being used. So, bottom line, guys, is who knows? Who knows what's going on? What do you think? Put it in the comments below. If you got something out of this video, please share it, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. We'll see you next time. God bless you all.
All right. Let's end on the classic Werner von Braun song, and then we will call it a night, shall we?
Well, speaking of bombs, what is it that makes America the world's greatest nuclear power? And what is it that will make it possible for us to spend $20,000 million of our taxpayers' money to put some idiot on the moon? Well, it was the great, enormous superiority of American technology, of course, as provided by our great American scientists, such as Dr. Werner von Braun.
Who's Next is my favorite song of his, by the way. This one's good, though.
Gather round while I sing you of Werner von Braun, a man whose allegiance is ruled by expedience. Call him a Nazi, he won't even frown. Nazi schmazi, says Werner von Braun. Don't say that he's hypocritical, say rather that he's apolitical. Once the rockets are up, who cares where they come down? That's not my department, says Werner von Braun. Some have harsh words for this man of renown, but some think our attitude should be one of gratitude, like the widows and cripples in old London town, who owe their large pensions to Werner von Braun. You too may be a big hero once you've learned to count backwards to 0. In German or English, I know how to count down. And I'm learning Chinese, says Werner von Braun.
All right, let's see who we're gonna raid on Twitch, and we'll call it a night. I will be back tomorrow. We might be doing Sovereign Citizens. I'm not sure. We might do that, or we might do Afro Man. Not sure. We can raid Cirrus.
But that doesn't have...
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thanks for hanging out for another Tinfoil Tuesday. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you soon for the next one. Ah... boop.